D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, David Janes here with you. Willie Donick will be along momentarily. Derek, I was relieved to see you walk in the door today. I thought you may have been consumed by a swarm of wasps, but you are alive and well.
Yes, I am. I had to walk out of here, with my head on a swivel and make sure that once I stepped out of this door, out of this room, that there were not a horde of wasps waiting on me.
I expected you to walk in with one of those beekeeper outfits.
It wouldn't come in at time.
No.
On time.
No one-day delivery on one of those
I
things.
tried to order it before I left yesterday.
So in case you missed it yesterday, halfway through our program, we're talking about TSU hockey's decision to postpone its inaugural season by at least 1 year. And out of the corner of my right eye, I'm starting to notice Derek gyrating. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm trying to power through. I am a professional. But then we learn there's a wasp in the studio. And David Janes, if you will, here's what happened yesterday when Derek got into a fight with a wasp live on air. I mean, there's a giant wasp in our studio.
Good Lord.
This is new. We've never had this before.
No.
And this isn't a real big studio, so
Let's keep the door closed.
No. Let's keep the door open.
David
I want
wants
this
to
thing
say-
out.
David's like, keep that thing in there, man. I'm on the other side of the glass.
I saw Derek convulsing. I'm like, what's going on over there, dude?
Yeah.
Now I know.
Now
There's
I
a
know why he's
giant
doing that.
bug. Now Derek is
Derek's doing
off
it.
to try to get it. Oh gosh.
Oh, no.
This is live radio. Derek's under attack.
Okay.
How did he get in here?
Who knows? Did you get it?
No.
Wait for it.
Wasp, man.
Live radio.
Live radio is great, man. That wasp flew up underneath me, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I
But
laugh every time.
I am here to tell you today that I survived a wasp attack. So I will be setting up classes on how to survive a wasp attack in a confined area. It's going to be $9.99 per class.
4-class session.
4-class session minimum.
We can go up to 10.
And I have video proof. Well, audio and video.
And video. Yeah, we got YouTube.
So I'm giving classes at your local Y.
We needed you to survive because you're about to be inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Yes.
That's next weekend, correct?
Yes, next Friday. Myself along with
A cast of
a
others.
cast of
Tony Allen.
well-deserved others. Shea Weber, I believe.
Yes.
So Shamika Holtzclaw, is it? Am I right about that?
I am looking up right now to make
Um,
sure that we honor everybody.
I think it is Shamika Holtzclaw. I can pronounce her name, her last name right.
Shamika Holtzclaw.
Yeah, I need to get it right before I get there.
Yes.
So it's going to be, and then my family will be flying in from different areas. I have my brothers coming in from up north, from out west. Some friends that are already here. Obviously, a few of you guys here at the station. So it's going to be a nice event. I'm truly honored and humbled because I didn't know that this was something that I was going to be receiving. I had no clue. And when Brad Willis and everyone over here at 1025 presented me with it at Bridgestone, I was speechless because it's one of those deals where it's like a surprise. Some people love surprises, some people don't. I'm sort of in the middle. I can take it or leave it, but that was truly a well-timed surprise for me.
among some of the other inductees into the 2025 or to the 2025 class, I should say, of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame includes Tony Allen, as David James just said, Tamika Catchings, Stephen Gostkowski, Shamika Holtzclaw, Shea Weber, of course, Derek Mason, Ron Slay, a lot of important athletes in our state, in our city, being inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. That is next week. So we're glad you survived.
Yes.
One texter said, "Can you get a bundle on the class?"
Depends on
Buy 4, get your 5th free.
Yeah, it just depends, because I'm sure there will be a waiting list. For the first 5 that sign up for the class, yes, you get a bundle for the first 5 people.
Do they get a fly swatter as part of the deal? I don't know if that's strong enough.
That's the upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah. It comes with the swatter as well as the repellent.
Okay.
So either or both.
Nate on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, "This makes me think of the Big Bang Theory episode where Sheldon makes the comment, tens of people every year are killed by birds. I don't want to be another statistic."
Exactly. He's absolutely right.
Now, when I left my house this morning, I looked around, made sure that there were no wasps or bees around. And I was actually surrounded by butterflies. It was actually nice. I felt like a Disney princess.
You were being protected.
Yes. Lots of little white butterflies floating around. I thought that was very nice.
I think throughout the bug world, there may have been a hit out on you. Because you were associated with me.
They were doing the recon, is what you're saying? They were just...
places he can go to hide. Okay, we got to find out where Willie stayed. We got to find out where Adam
they
David.
They did a game plan, just like, all right, here's the parts of the town that we can go to.
If he ever disappears.
I feel like I've only been stung by a bee once in my life, to my knowledge. Maybe I've been stung and not really noticed, but I feel like it's painful enough that you would.
Yeah, you would. I guess I've gotten stung 2-3 times.
I've been stung by a jellyfish. That is painful. That is painful.
Oh.
And it's an urban myth that you're supposed to pee on it.
That's what I was about to ask. Are you supposed to? Is that true?
It's an old wives' tale.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I hope you didn't try it, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
Willie is here. He also survived the a potential wasp attack.
Hey, Willie and I got on the same color shorts, kind of, sort of. Look at that. Hey,
Willie, we're glad you're here. When you said you were going to be 10 minutes late, I imagined you in a fighting off a swarm of wasps.
A swarm of wasps. Did we play the replay?
We did.
Yes.
Should we play it again, David James?
That's one more time.
I think so.
Okay, let's play it
For
one more
all
time.
of those people that didn't hear it, here we go.
Let's play it one more time. Giant wasp in our studio.
Good Lord.
This is new. We've never had this before.
No.
And this isn't a real big studio, so
Let's keep the door closed.
No. Let's keep the door open.
David
I want
wants
this
to say-
thing out.
David's like, keep that thing in there, man. I'm on the other side of the glass.
I saw Derek like convulsing. I'm like, what's going on over there, dude?
Yeah.
Now I know.
Now
There's
I
a
know why he's
giant
doing that.
bug. Now Derek is
Derek's going
off
away.
to try to get it. Oh gosh.
Oh, no.
This is live radio. Derek's under attack.
Again, wait for it. Okay.
How did he get in here?
Who knows? Did you get it?
No. Wasp, man.
Live radio.
Radio is great, man. I don't want that. Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yep. Just another day in the life
Oh goodness.
of DVD.
One John on our text line says, "Will the wasp be in attendance for the induction? Will the wasp be in attendance for the induction next Friday?"
He and his buddies just made. That's when we go catch him.
Oh man.
Oh,
You
boy,
just
oh,
see them
boy.
just doing this. Just like,
Yes. Making a swarm fist.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, I had my battle, and William, you may not have heard, but I am now giving out classes, $9.99 on how to kill or how to escape a wasp in tight quarters.
Yes.
Yeah, we have video and we have audio.
Okay.
And you
Both are
can't,
available?
yeah. Some callers called in and asked for a bundle pack. I said, well, the first 5 that call in and register for the class, you get a bundle pack. What comes with the bundle pack is a swatter, and if you can upgrade it, with some repellent.
You
This
did
is a
not,
class.
and you didn't have either one yesterday. You had
No,
to be.
I can show them how to do it, when you're in the mud. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
By the way,
This is how you do it. When you ain't
According-
got all those things, you got to come out. You just got to do what you got to do, man. Guerrilla style.
now you guys like to tease me for how quickly I can find things
Yeah.
on Google. According to the CDC, between 2011 and 2021, a total of 788 deaths from hornet, wasp, and bee stings occurred, roughly 72 per year.
Okay.
Hmm.
I was recently stung by a wasp in the last couple years.
Clearly, you survived.
Yeah.
I did. I survived.
Did it
it
come
was
out of nowhere?
I think
Was
it
it like
was
a
a
sneak
wasp.
attack?
It was a sneak attack. It was a. One of those
See, I
things where
give
they
classes
get-
on that.
They get a little nest going,
Mhm.
and it was on the power source for my
Ooh,
outside
yeah,
mower
yeah.
kind of thing, or
gotta watch
leaf
that.
blower,
Yeah.
things like. I was plugging something in, and I opened up the power source, and
Mhm.
bam,
They
it was
came
an
out.
ambush.
Yeah, you got to watch, man. I got classes on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean,
Do
listen.
you
That's
have- do you
extra- that's
have a-
extra, though.
Is there a class on how to get rid of the nest? when you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
the
we got
nest going?
class on that. Oh, we
Okay.
got class on everything,
Okay.
man. Everything. You want to get it in a bundle, you can. The more and more I'm thinking about the bundle, I think that may be my best option is the bundle pack, because things like that I didn't think about, Willie.
Yeah.
Things like that comes in a bundle. So
Okay.
there you go, people. It will be up and running pretty soon here.
I'm imagining Derek in one of those 90s infomercial.
Right.
Billy Mays here. Derek Mason here for whatever we're going to call your WASP class.
The Wagon Wasp class.
Oh, man.
The Millie Wop.
The Millie Wasp.
But Derek,
Yes.
WASP attack aside,
Yes.
you did say when we got into the studio today that there was something quickly that you wanted to talk about. The state of college football. By the way, SEC Media Days next week. Chase and Big Joe will be live from Atlanta. We'll tell you more about that over the course of the program. Vanderbilt will address reporters. Well, not the university, the people representing Vanderbilt will address reporters on Monday. But you did want to talk about college football.
Yeah, because it's weird in a sense, because I think 15 years ago, maybe even as short as 10 years ago, no one really thought that what is happening now was going to happen. They thought that, the NCAA, they'll come together and they'll decide something, but it won't be just giving autonomy to the players to do what they want in regards to getting paid for their services and name, image, and likeness. And then when the settlement went down, it was sort of like, okay, let's see how this is going to happen. How is it? How will everything be facilitated? How will this change college sports? Well, the one area that I've seen that it has changed college sports the most is the way we talk about college football. Because I'm listening this morning to First Take, and they had their summer team on there, and they were talking about college football. But if I wasn't paying attention, I would have thought they were talking about the NFL free agency. No, seriously,
Yeah.
the way they were talking about building teams, and we got a great, they were talking about LSU and their head coach, and is he on the hot seat or is he not? And they were talking about it as if this team was a pro team. He went out and he addressed the defense with money. They went out and they changed, went and got some guys and changed some positions. All this stuff that we're used to hearing in the NFL, now we're hearing it in college football. That has been, for me, the one of the most glaring changes is how, if you're not even paying attention, and I told Adam this, if you have your back turned to the television and you didn't know that they were talking about college football, and you would have listened to that conversation, you would have thought they were talking about the NFL and free agency, and play, a team from the AFC signing, a high price free agents. Because right after that, right after that, they segued into the NFL and who has something to prove, and they talked about Cincinnati's defense and Hendrickson, and he needs to get his money, and he needs to get paid. Well, that's the same sort of topic you are having about college football in regards to, NIL and people getting paid, and how teams are structuring their rosters nowadays. So it's just completely changed the way we talk about college football.
And in some ways, it's actually more fun for the people that actually know all these players. And I don't follow, because there's so many more teams, so many more players. I can't follow the portal. I have no desire to, really.
Oh, no, it's too much.
But for those that do know something about these guys, it's probably fun for them to sink their teeth in, as opposed to NFL free agency, where the best players usually don't become free agents, or not very many of them. There's a slow trickle. Same with NHL, but there's no limit on and there's always going to be a ton of kids going into the portal every year.
The
way
Nico Iamaleava saga, say that 10 times fast, the Iamaleava saga, that sort of typifies to me what you're talking about. So it's the state of college athletics these days. Now that these players are being paid, and which I agree with, I do believe they should be paid. The lines are blurred between professional sports and collegiate sports, especially in the way that we discussed them quickly. A couple of WASP-related texts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. Joey from Bellevue says, I was installing an AC unit that was located in an attic. I was trying to shake it loose and didn't see the red wasp nest hiding behind the ductwork and got popped twice.
Ooh.
It was awful. Devin and Dixon said, I deliver mail, and believe me, wasps try to sneak attack you when you open up mailboxes.
Oh, they love that area. That guy might be my mailman, because I feel like on our porch, we got a lot of spaces where the wasps are like, oh, this would be a great place to set up our nest. This would be great.
They set
I could
up
get the mailman every day. I got people coming out of the front door. I got yard work. We got a lot of options to get people.
I had one. They formed one right above my daughter's, on the back patio, right above my daughter's door leading out to the patio, in those little small vents right above there where, I don't know what comes out of there. I guess it's just filter from the house. I don't know. But they had built a wasp inside of the vent. And my daughter obviously didn't want the wasp there. So I had to go out there and I had to knock down the wasp nest. And when I knocked down that wasp, I thought it was just, 2 or 3. I knocked down that wasp nest, man. It was about 15 of them. They just all came out.
There's a lot more in those little things than you think.
I darted in the house. Those things were gone.
Ooh. Willie, I did say before you arrived that I was expecting Derek to show up today in one of those beekeeper outfits.
Yeah.
Just to be safe. But it didn't come in time.
No,
that's too bad.
So you're out in the open, Derek.
Remember last year there was a Major League Baseball game delayed because of bees, and they had to call in the beekeeper. And the guy became a legend because he had he was in the full suit. He just calmly went in and took care of it. It took a while. The game was delayed for a while, but it was fascinating.
I vaguely remember
watch
this.
And the guy, he'll probably never pay for a meal again, wherever that was. San Diego, I think. Is that right?
I'll have to look that up. While we do that, 615-737-1025. Any WASP-related stories, you can let us know. 615-737-1025. But also, coming up next, I was thinking about the state of sports in our fair city as I was driving home from the studio yesterday. And there is a question that I want Willie, Derek, and I to attempt to answer, and I want all of your help as well. And I will share that coming up next. 615-737-1025. This week's Nashville's best deal is Mellow Mushroom. There's no pizza like Mellow Mushroom pizza. Stone baked with fresh ingredients, next level imagination, and limitless options for customization. It's a higher order of pizza. You know and love Mellow Mushroom. Now get half off a $30 gift card while supplies last at theGameNashville.com/deals. The gift card is good for the downtown Broadway and Franklin locations.
This is it. The Beekeeper made his way, a grand entrance onto the field here at Chase Field. He was greeted by a standing ovation by the fans here, waiting to see if this game would ever get into the books. The marketing department at Blue Sky Pest Control, I think, has just called an emergency meeting, because look what they have. You can hear the crowd roaring behind me right now. He made his way to the lift, and he is now making his way down. This is one small step for man. He just removed the bees. Now the players are coming out to witness this, obviously. And what we have been told is this: after the successful removal, which I believe we just saw together here, there will be about a 30-minute cooling off period, because the bees that didn't get into his container will still be swarming in the area where the colony made its way to the top of the backstop here at Chase Field. Again, we go all the way back to the start.
So that was Dodgers Diamondbacks last year. I think it's happened on more than one occasion, a bee delay in Major League Baseball. Yeah. My favorite part was the cooling off period for the bees. We have to delay the game so that the bees can settle down.
Hey, y'all better. Because once they come, they come. They're not stopping. So, yeah, let them calm down. Yeah, let them calm down.
David on our text line said, my dad lit a yellow jacket nest on fire and they all swarmed me. 20 plus stings. David, you got the raw end of that deal, my friend. I hope your dad got some. I hope you got some payback on your dad. Let us know.
Man.
You know, but it was quite a production when the Beekeeper comes in and the game is delayed. That happened in Arizona, the one we just played. And last year there was even more famous one, I think, in San Diego at Petco Park. We were looking that up. But my question is this, right? If you got a wasp problem, is the Beekeeper a guy you call, or can he even help you? Like, the suit probably would be effective, right? But the technique is different. The wasp, you know,
are there specialties? Are there specialties within this community? I specialize in bees. I specialize in wasps.
Yeah.
I specialize in cockroaches. I don't know.
So if you just found the Beekeeper, the local Beekeeper, you call him up and said, I got a problem. Can you come over real quick? I got a swarm. And he says, well, what are they? Are they bees? And you say, no, it's wasps. Does he just say, sorry, buddy, can't help you? Let me give you a different number. Let me give you a number. I've got my buddy. This is your wasp guy. And what does the wasp keeper, what does that suit look like? Or does he just come in with a blowtorch like the guy just texted? I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
And is there are there people that can do both?
There should be. You get paid more, I would think. More
before we get to our more depressing topic of the day,
yes,
Jeff is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com, with a bee story. Hello, Jeff. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I'll make this quick. Many years ago, I had a small deck building company. And in preparation to build a new deck, me and my employees were demolitioning the older deck there, and I swatted a board with a sledgehammer, and a swarm of wasps attacked me and literally were chasing me. They were just swarming. One of them even got inside the lens of my sunglasses and stung me on my freaking eyelid.
Oh my God.
The only way I could get away from was to dive into the swimming pool there.
Jeff, we lost you there. It sounded like you had to dive into the swimming pool to save yourself. But getting stung on the eye, oh my gosh. Jeff, text us and finish the rest of that anecdote, and we will get back to it.
Yes.
But as I said yesterday, as I was driving home from the station, I was thinking about the sad state of Nashville sports. And as Skylar on our text line says, it's depressing, isn't it, Adam? Thinking about sports teams in our city, LOL. It's not a laughing matter, Skylar. We are starved for some sports success in our city. We know that the Tennessee Titans have been the worst team in the NFL over the past 2.5 years. Since that losing streak that ended, what was that, the 2023 season? Since that losing streak, the Titans have won fewer games than any team in the NFL. The Nashville Predators have missed the postseason 2 of the past 3 years. They are coming off of one of the worst seasons in franchise history, certainly the most disappointing based on preseason expectations. Now, Nashville SC is trying its hardest to change that. Nashville SC is on a club record 15-game unbeaten streak across all competitions. So good for Nashville SC. But I was thinking about this question, and I need Derek's help, I need Willie's help, and I need your help. At 615-737-1025, who is the biggest star in Nashville sports right now? Because I think a lot of you will say Cam Ward. I am not prepared to do that at this moment, right now, because Cam Ward has not played an NFL game. The hope is that Cam Ward becomes the biggest star in Nashville sports for the next decade plus, but we don't know that yet. But really, unless I'm missing somebody obvious, guys, since Derrick Henry left Nashville for Baltimore, there's been an opening. And I want to start here with the two of you and all of our texters at 61 and listeners and callers at 615-737-1025. Here is the working list I have right now for the candidates for this title. Biggest star in Nashville sports right now. Tell me if I'm missing anybody obvious. I am going to throw Cam Ward on this list because he is the presumed starting quarterback for the local professional football team. Jeffrey Simmons, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Diego Pavia, Michaela Blakes, and Hani Mukhtar. Those are the Nashville athletes I thought of as I was doing this exercise at home. First question, am I missing anybody obvious in this list?
I don't think so.
No.
A question we always have when we're going to do one of these, regardless of specifics, is are you putting University of Tennessee people
On
in
the
that?
list, yes.
I am including only athletes who play within Nashville city limits or Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
Yes.
So your favorite Tennessee football or basketball player?
John
coach,
Morant,
the
he's excused from this.
University of Tennessee, I should say.
Yeah.
John Morant, anybody playing for the Memphis Grizzlies, they are off the board. Sorry, David.
Yeah.
They are off
It's
the
okay.
board.
I was thinking coaches too, because I think sometimes that could be what pops into your head. Like I think for a time, maybe Mike Vrabel would have been in a discussion, but it's a really interesting question because I don't think it's a clear-cut answer.
No, I don't either. By the way, quickly, Jeff texted in. Sorry, I lost connection. To finish the story, yes, I dove into a swimming pool. Thank God it was there. I drove myself to the ER. I had 37 wasp stings. The ER physician told me had I arrived at the ER 10 minutes later than I did, I would have died. That's Jeff in Kingston Springs. Sorry, Jeff.
goodness.
We're glad you're okay.
I'm glad
It's a
you're
lot worse
okay.
than I even realized.
Whew. See, that's why you don't mess. Now y'all see why I was going crazy in here.
Yeah.
You mess around with those wasps.
One
man.
texter said that Ed the Zebra is the biggest star in Nashville
Yeah, you
sports
got a
right
point
now.
there.
But
That's actually true.
I mean, but
Okay, let's look at this list.
all right. Want me to repeat the list again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. These are the candidates I have right now, and I am open to others. Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Diego Pavia, Michaela Blakes, and Hani Mukhtar.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: Stamkos, no. Had he had a better season, then yes, you probably could have thrown him in there.
Here's the thing with Steven Stamkos. He is certainly the most accomplished athlete playing in Nashville right now.
Yes.
One of the greatest goal scorers of his generation, 22nd on the all-time goals list in NHL history, and a two-time Stanley Cup winner. Problem is, he is still associated with Tampa Bay.
Exactly.
He plays for Nashville now, but most people, you say, hey, what's the first team that comes to mind when you hear Steven Stamkos? They're all going to say the Tampa Bay Lightning. So he is the most accomplished athlete playing within our area right now, just in terms of his career, but only one season with the Predators. So that's why I put him on there, because of his career accomplishments.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you that he probably is unqualified for this particular exercise.
I think what it boils down to, or who it boils down to, is Diego and Jeff. I think right now, I think with what Diego did last season and his confidence, and we've seen some of the interviews he's done this offseason, his confidence is second to none. I tell you that. But he goes out, and I think he embodies what cities want to be: hardworking, just guys that grind through it all, don't complain, just grind through it all, and come out on the other side, shining like a diamond. That's what I think that's why people gravitate toward Diego Pavia, because he's one of those guys. By any means necessary, I'm going to get the job done. And Jeffrey, to a sense, because you brought up, when you asked the question and I responded to it, you said, well, people hate Jeff.
Well,
Because of the season and everything
right.
else. I get it.
That's my argument against Jeffrey
Yes.
Simmons. Now, Jeffrey Simmons, at the moment, I think we can all agree, is the best player on the Tennessee Titans.
Exactly.
So the best player on the local football team, usually
would
the
have
biggest,
a big advantage.
Exactly.
the biggest star
And I think
in the city.
It's between those two guys.
And Jeffrey Simmons, as we discussed earlier this week, when we looked at Jeremy Fowler's latest list, he has annually been considered by the NFL a top 5 player at his position. He is one of the highest paid players at his position in the NFL. Now, I know that our devoted listeners and callers and texters only represent part of the fan base. But my question is, in order to be the biggest star, don't you have to be liked by your fan base? Now, again, the people who listen to our station don't represent the entire Titans fan base, but they are definitely passionate, and we hear more negative than positive about Jeffrey Simmons. That was my one hang-up about instantly claiming Jeffrey Simmons.
Because I don't think they hate Jeffrey Simmons.
I don't think it's hate, but there's a lot of people are disappointed in the output that Jeffrey Simmons has had in recent years.
I completely think that's a big, big factor. And so that's leading me down this path that we're not just going with straight up accomplishments on the field. Because Diego Pavia, as great as he is, it's the aura and persona.
He has the biggest personality.
Because the impact was just for 1 year. But yes, I think the name recognition. And that's why I think it probably takes away from Roman Josi, who I think is the most accomplished player on the list. And it's not even close because he's got the longevity. He's got a Norris Trophy. He's got an appearance in the Stanley Cup final. He's the captain. Year in and year out, he's done the most of anybody on that list for the longest time in Nashville. And it's not even close. So to me, that's the vote. But when you factor in these other intangibles, like the reach of the Predators versus the reach of the Titans or football in general, it kind of evens things out, and you have it's a good debate. But my vote is Josi.
It's interesting because you can approach this from many different angles. You can approach it from accomplishment.
And Josi is not a guy who is charismatic.
Right.
I mean, he is in his own way, but he's not a social media seeking the stuff like Pavia.
Right. Diego Pavia. Remember him after the game against Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Did all the interviews, has a magnetic personality. Roman Josi, who I have great admiration for and got to know over several years covering the Predators every day, does not have that magnetic personality, at least in public. It's different behind closed doors. But this is the question I have for all of you at 615-737-1025. Who is the biggest star in Nashville sports right now? Again, a year from now, I think we all hope the answer is Cam Ward. But I am not prepared to just hand it to him because he has yet to play an NFL game. So right now, who is the biggest star in Nashville sports? Here is my list of candidates. And if there's someone I'm missing, also text in at 615 or call at 615-737-1025. Cam Ward, I'm still including him because he's the presumed starting quarterback on the local professional football team. Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons, Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Diego Pavia, Michaela Blakes, and Hani Mukhtar. 615-737-1025. We will take your reaction. We already have a lot of it, and we'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063, The Game. D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 of the game. This fall, live at the Pinnacle at Nashville Yards, Tim McGraw will perform at Trintix's Rock the Cradle. This event is sure to be a great time celebrating a great cause. Proceeds from the event will support newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Talking who is the biggest star in Nashville sports right now. Let's get to some of our reaction on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. David says, Cam Ward, he's the biggest hope. One texter says, sadly, it's Diego Pavia. UC Saros was mentioned. Diego Pavia, according to Gino, the only one that was successful in Nashville last year. One texter says, Roman Yossi is way more accomplished than the Titans and Diego Pavia. Wes in Clarksville says, Big Jeff is a big name, not a big star. His past couple of years have not been great. One texter says, Diego, so this is an interesting one. This is George from Murfreesboro. Diego Pavia or Philip Forsberg. Honestly, it's probably George Kittle, even though he doesn't even play for Nashville teams. And that's sort of the point. If George Kittle played for the Tennessee Titans, he would be the biggest star in Nashville sports. And we had this conversation last week, Derek, about the Titans being an anonymous franchise. And it stemmed from a column, or actually a tweet, from Gentry Estes of the Tennessean, reacting to the NHL draft, saying, does anybody else find it weird that the NFL player most associated with the Nashville Predators doesn't play for the Tennessee Titans? So that's sort of the point. Greg brings up Hani Mukhtar. And this is another interesting point. So I think you could make the argument that in terms of individual accomplishment in his sport, Hani Mukhtar is the most successful athlete playing in Nashville. He's been the MVP of MLS. After he scored against Philadelphia last week, MLS Communications tweeted this. Hani Mukhtar recorded his 75th career MLS goal, which are the most in the league since the start of the 2020 season and 12 more than the next closest player. So Hani Mukhtar absolutely can stake his claim to this. Here's the issue with soccer. MLS players in our country, they face an uphill climb to break into mainstream stardom just because of soccer's place in our nation. It feels that the only way an MLS player can break through to that mainstream is if they've had a celebrated international career, like Lionel Messi, or at one point, David Beckham, or Landon Donovan, or Wayne Rooney, who all appeared at MLS at one point. So Mukhtar, absolutely. Problem is, soccer, it's harder to break through when you are a soccer player in Major League Soccer.
Read that definition because it's the definition for, superstardom, whatever it was.
I did the nerdy thing. I did the nerdy thing and looked up the literal definition
as we expect
of superstar.
Exactly.
Webster's dictionary defines superstar as a star who is considered extremely talented, has great public appeal, and can usually command a high salary. That is the literal definition of superstar.
So when we are talking about these individuals, we got to factor all of that in. Now, Pavia and Michaela fits in now because why? They're able to get paid outside, able to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. So they can command a lot of money based upon, a college salary cap, so to speak.
And Michaela Blake's women's basketball is on the rise.
Yes.
She had an outstanding season for Vanderbilt. How many buzzer beaters did she hit last season? At least 2, right?
A couple, and had a couple of
she had
incredible
2 50-point games, didn't she?
That's right.
Yeah.
And she was just the MVP of this of the FIBA Women's America Tournament. So Michaela Blake's, I think, certainly fits in this discussion.
She's worthy of a nominee. Now, I have a thought on Mukhtar, and that is Mukhtar has been great for Nashville SC because for casual fans like me, it allows us to gravitate and know about a star player on Nashville SC. Now, for this particular category, though, my interpretation, you have to figure in that Nashville SC and MLS is not the highest level of soccer in the world. It's not even close to it, really. right? It's a good level. It's a very successful league. They're having wild success as a new sport in our city, but I think I factor that in. I have to factor that in. It's like if we had an arena football team, if we had a star arena football player like Corey Fleming back in the day, you weren't going to confuse the fact that Corey Fleming is better than Derek Mason or whoever the best receiver is, right? It's different levels, and it's a niche on arena football. So that's why I would still go with Yossi. Now, on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, this one was actually texted to me. This is a really good one that we have not brought up. But Joseph Newgarden should absolutely be on the list. Again, it goes back to your definition of how many people in Nashville know about him. A lot less than know about Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same or more as a Roman Yossi, who, by the way, he and Joseph Newgarden met each other a long, long time ago. They've always enjoyed each other's company because they both kind of came up at the same time. But Newgarden, with what he's done in the IRL and the fact that he's from Hendersonville, he counts for sure, and he has had wild success. So I did not consider him, and if I do, I got to say he's right there with Yossi, I would say.
Let's go to Bert on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Bert, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
All right, I'll preface this that I'm probably football first, but is there a game besides the Vanderbilt Alabama game that right now will draw or has a greater draw on any sports schedule?
He said Vandy and Alabama.
Yeah.
For this upcoming season?
Yes, just as of right now. Now, obviously, the Titans do really well this season, then it's going to change. But right now, is there any other game circled on any calendar that's bigger than this one?
I would say that the Titans.
Thank you for the call, Bert.
The Titans will have the broadest audience week in and week out, hands down.
But I do
no matter
believe,
how big the Vanderbilt Alabama game is this year, or any Vanderbilt game, it's dwarfed by the viewership of every Titans game.
But if we're just talking about the buzz it's going to generate, I think that that Alabama and Alabama and Vanderbilt matchup this year, because of what Diego Pavia has said, since they've beaten them, it's going to be one that everybody, I think, in Middle Tennessee, maybe even across the state, they're going to want to see.
What did the Alabama receiver say? It's taking a sledgehammer to an anthill or something like that?
Or something. So there's some built-up animosity going on.
There's going to be some buzz, no pun intended. I know we're kind of sensitive to wasps right now. There's going to be some buzz entering that game. But
you look at stuff like that, games like that, and that helps, raise the profile of a Diego Pavia. Because if you're just taking it by the definition, I do believe Diego fits in it. I do believe, obviously, Yossi and Forsberg and Jeffrey Simmons as well. Then you add in Newgard. But because of the dominance of the sport, I think overall, and I know Jeff had a down season last year, I think overall, right now, to me, Jeff is the guy that I would, put first on that list.
I think they would have a couple of different, if you streamline the category.
Yeah.
This is what Joe Rexroad always talks about when you do a poll, right, for a newspaper or for a website. The wording of the question can really shape an answer, right? If we shape the wording, name who is the most recognizable name on this list. I think Simmons probably would win just because of the popularity of the NFL.
Yeah.
Or Cam Ward.
Cam Ward might beat them all.
Yeah.
For that, and he hasn't played a game. But if you don't put him on the list,
he's on my list by default.
Right. But again, if you're putting a poll together, you would have to decide whether to put his name on that list. If you're saying who is the most accomplished player, just by accomplishments on the field for the longest time in the city, then I think that's a different criteria.
Yeah.
But we're kind of going Heisman Trophy. Tell me who it is.
Throw it all in.
Tell me who you think. No criteria.
But what's interesting
best?
about that is
Who's the biggest star?
the varying definitions people have.
Yes.
When
That makes
determining
the fun discussion. Yeah.
who is a star. Let's go to Dylan on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dylan, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, yeah. So to that other caller's point, he brought up the Vanderbilt Alabama game, and people are going to think about Diego Pavia, and then everyone else on the list that you mentioned. I don't think anyone really thinks about them. And then the only other game that I can think of that would get more hype than the Vanderbilt Bama game would actually be Titans versus the Patriots, and that's not even because of any player. That's because of Mike Vrabel coming back to Tennessee, or us facing Mike Vrabel. I don't know if that's a home or away game, but that just goes back to the point that it's someone who's not even with the Titans anymore. So I think we're kind of just a dying sports town right now, and it hurts.
Dylan. Thank you for the call, Dylan. I guess
that hurt.
a dying sports town
that
On
hurt.
Friday afternoon.
Oh,
dying
that hurt,
sports town.
Dylan. Come on, man. What happened? Did you not have a good fourth? You were just waiting to get on the air.
Okay.
Did you get stung by a wasp?
Exactly.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do coming up next. We'll continue to take your reaction, 615-737-1025, on who the biggest star in Nashville sports is right now. Here's what I want to do. I want to try to put this list together. We have our candidates, and I want us to work through the order in which they should be listed.
Yes.
So we're going to do that coming up next. I have added Joseph Newgarden to the list. Joseph Newgarden was not on my initial list. I have added Joseph Newgarden to the list.
And for those who may not follow auto racing, right? He has won the Indy 500. He has been a
multi-time champion.
Yes.
Season champion. So he is as decorated. He's probably, safe to say, the number one guy in IndyCar racing right now, right over the last 5 to 10 years.
That's a better question for the suit, Chase McKay. But we will try to put this list together, and we will use you to help us as well. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. 1025-1063, The Game. D. Mace, Finn, Gidendonic, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Ask D. Mace coming up in roughly 30 minutes or so. So if you have questions for Derek, you can get them in now on our text line at 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Okay. We are trying to figure out who the biggest star in Nashville sports is right now. So here is our list. Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Diego Pavia, Michaela Blakes, Hani Mukhtar, and I've added Joseph Newgarden. So should we work from the bottom up, or should we work from the top down?
Let's work from the bottom.
This is the 3-person panel here, or
Yes.
4-person panel, and we're not putting this out on a poll.
Well, if you listening, if you have your list,
Okay.
Mhm.
you can text us or call us as well. But
So we got to wait. How many people on the list?
9 people now.
We got to rank 9.
Ward, Simmons, Yossi,
Wow.
Forsberg, Stamkos, Pavia,
so we're
Blakes,
putting Ward in
Mukhtar,
there. Okay.
and Newgarden. Yes, I do. I don't think you can ignore Cam Ward. My point is that I don't think you can immediately put him number one just because he's the presumed starting quarterback for the local professional football team, because he hasn't done it yet. I think he will ascend there in quick fashion, but I don't think he's number one on my list right now. But you do have to give him the quarterback bump, right? Like, he's probably going to be higher on this list, even if he's not number one.
No doubt.
So you want to start at the bottom.
Yes.
I'm putting Ward at the bottom.
You're putting Cam Ward at the bottom. Okay.
Oh, man.
He hasn't played. I'm not. I
Okay,
can't,
yeah, you're right.
My interpretation of the biggest star, you have to earn your star. You can't just be given the star before you've even put a uniform on.
You got a point.
So he's last. It's not even
Okay.
close.
Derek, do you
Not even
agree with
close.
this?
I agree with Willie. Because of the circumstance. You brought it up.
I did.
You threw it in there. So
I
I'm
did.
like, okay. So Cam Ward is last.
I'm wondering if he might be next to last or third from last because of the quarterback bump.
He's not. We don't know that he's the starting quarterback.
Right. He could end up being Will Levis without the mayonnaise, as far as we know.
Yeah. Like, if we did this for Will Levis last summer, he'd have played 8 games. He probably would have done well on this list. But that's 8 more than Cam Ward has
all right.
played.
Well, it's 2-1. So we can put Cam Ward at the bottom for right now.
Okay.
I think he will quickly ascend to the top.
Yes.
But I will agree with the two of you.
Okay. 8th, I'm going Steven Stamkos, just because of what we talked about earlier.
Certainly the most accomplished in his career in terms of what he has, accomplished. But he is not associated with Nashville. All of those career highlights happened somewhere else.
Yep, we agree.
So I think Stamkos is fine there. Okay.
Who would you go with at 7?
That's a good question. I might put Michaela Blakes.
I had the same thing.
I may put Michaela Blakes at 7.
With a bullet.
Yeah,
she's moving
you're right.
up.
No, you're right.
If she stays for
this is
3-4 years.
Her sophomore. She's a
she did all
rising
of that.
sophomore,
Yeah,
correct?
she did all of that as a freshman.
Yeah.
And
how
long are W?
I know they're allowed to be there for 4 years. So 4 years, and then they can go in the draft.
Oh, so they got to spend at least 4 years.
Right. It's not one and done.
Okay.
And I would say a
thought
lot
it
of
was college
players are
basketball.
choosing to stay because your persona can be, if you're on a good team, bigger in college.
So you have so I'm putting Michaela Blakes.
I got Michaela Blakes
ahead of Steven Stamkos.
And I think in a year she'll be higher. If she sticks it out and plays at Vanderbilt for 4 years, and they are going to the places I think they have a chance to go because they're attracting better players. She's the type of player that will bring other good players.
She's an elite player.
I love the way they're coached. I think she's got a chance to move pretty high up on the list.
Okay. Well, she's 7th with the arrow going up.
Yes. I like that.
There we go.
She's the 7th with the emoji of the stocks going up with the blue, not the red.
Okay.
So starting from the bottom, we are putting Cam Ward for right now. We do this exercise in a year from now. We hope we don't have to do this exercise in a year from now because Cam Ward.
Let's please hope for the Titans' sake that Cam Ward is higher on this list next year.
Oh man. Okay. Well, before we continue, Neely on our text line has another suggestion. Brant Snedeker. PGA Tour FedEx champion. He placed third in the Masters and third in the Open, and has tons of wins in PGA tournaments around the world.
But he's not.
I think for a time, there was a time that I would have said for sure he's on the current list. I think he's just a little bit.
The arrow's going down.
So
the arrow's going down.
Let me posit this question as we're moving up the list. Who would you have higher, Joseph Newgarden or Hani Mukhtar?
I would have Newgarden.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because he's been a champion.
The Snedeker one also brings to mind something that we have not. Because Snedeker, part of the allure is he grew up in Nashville. He grew up in Nashville. He played at MBA. He played at Vanderbilt. So he's doing this PGA. And Newgarden is the same thing. He's doing his stuff all over the world, not in Nashville. So that brings up Major League Baseball players, right? So we haven't really considered Mookie Betts,
right,
who's not having a great year this year, not even close. But he's an MVP from Nashville.
See,
but it's a different. That's a tough one.
Seems like that's the hard part about this is how much weight do we put into someone who was born here, who has gone on to do great things somewhere else, versus an athlete who is doing it here.
I think in this,
so that's why I might put Mukhtar ahead of Joseph Newgarden, because Mukhtar is doing it in Nashville.
If the MLS was a higher caliber league in the grand scheme, then I would definitely have Mukhtar at the top, probably. But he's lower on the list only because MLS is what it is. It's a really good league. It's the best league we have in the States, but worldwide, it's not the highest level of soccer.
So it would be Mukhtar and then Newgarden.
I am putting Hani Mukhtar ahead of Joseph Newgarden.
So it would be Newgarden and
so the list from top to bottom right now. We're not. It's not bottom to top, so it's not over, guys. Cam Ward at the bottom, Steven Stamkos, Michaela Blakes, Joseph Newgarden, Hani Mukhtar. What
do you think about that?
I got Newgarden higher. I got him a lot higher.
Woo! Nah, I think I'm taking right now at that 7th spot.
Are we all in agreement of the bottom 3 right now?
Yes, we're all in agreement with the bottom 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would have to go with Newgarden right now at that 6th spot. And Hani Mukhtar just right above.
Yes. So, all right. So now here are the remaining contenders, at least among the candidates
I'm going with Mukhtar number 6.
Okay. So you've got Blake's, then Mukhtar, then Newgarden.
And we got Newgarden, then Mukhtar.
Yes.
Mukhtar.
Well, okay. Well, we'll massage this list as we continue to make it. So here are the remaining candidates: Jeffrey Simmons, Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, and Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I've got my list. I'm very confident that my list is the way
why don't you share your list since you already have it?
Well, no, we can go person by person.
Okay.
But I've now finished slotting everybody now.
I'm going to put Pavia. I'm going to put Pavia next. A fantastic story. Love his personality. We played clips from his interview with Bussin' with the Boys a couple of weeks ago, taking aim at Tennessee. I'm sure Vanderbilt fans, minus Coach Willie, love that very much. Interested to hear what he has to say.
Coach Willie was very, very nervous and tense listening to that, but that's okay.
So I want to see the follow-up, similarly to Michaela Blake's, but of course, college football, a bigger sport than women's college basketball. So I'll put Pavia next on my list.
You have Pavia at 5.
So how many we have? Ward, Simmons, Josi, Forsberg. Do we have 9?
You have 9.
So
you have 9.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I have Pavia at 4.
Okay. Nothing wrong.
So who do you have at 5?
Mukhtar.
Oh, you have Newgarden at 6.
I have Newgarden at 6.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Newgarden higher.
I got Newgarden at 6.
I've got Mukhtar at 6.
Mukhtar at 5. And then Forsberg at 4.
I've got Forsberg at 5.
I got Forsberg
You have
at
Forsberg
4.
at 5.
I got Forsberg at 5, and I've got Pavia at 4. And this if we did this for 10 straight years, I think Forsberg would rank higher than Pavia. But Pavia's he is at a maximum recognizable.
Hey, his popularity is high.
Right. And that's where Coach Willie is a little concerned and curious to see what has he got as an encore, because they will not have an easy time repeating what they did last year, let alone building off of it. So this is an incredible challenge for him, but I've got to give him his due because of his persona, his charisma, and what he did for a program that had nothing going for it in terms of momentum, recognition. He's given them a national magnet to work off of, and I think that is worth a lot. So I've got him all the way up at number 4.
You just brought up something
Forsberg at 5.
Yeah, you just brought up something interesting, because if we look at all these, let's just look at the guys that are a part of a team. Let's take out Newgarden. So Newgarden has to come out.
He would be the only one.
He would be the only ones that are a part of the team. Who has made their team more successful? Basically, it's only up to two people, Michaela Blakes and Diego Pavia. They have put their respective programs on the map. Everybody else, their arrows going down. Honestly, if you take out Newgarden,
that's a
right.
good point.
So if we're talking about
Yossi, Forsberg, Simmons, not coming off of their best
exactly,
year.
At least those two individuals help elevate their program.
No doubt about it.
And from a national
standpoint. Michaela Blake was interviewed on SportsCenter.
Exactly.
Right? That's
as was Diego Pavia. That
counts for something in this.
That's huge.
Yeah.
To think about it.
And you weigh that with the career-long run of success for guys like Yossi, Forsberg, and even Simmons, even though they are not coming off their best. Their recent performance is not great.
Okay. So I think Derek and I, do we have the same list right now?
Right now, Cam Ward, Steven Stamkos, Michaela Blakes, Newgarden, Mukhtar. We're good right there?
Yes.
Then I have Forsberg.
Okay. Then Pavia.
4. No, I have Forsberg, then Yossi. You have Forsberg, then Pavia. So, who do you have it at 2 and 3? 3 and 4.
At 3, well, I have Forsberg 5, Pavia 4. I have Simmons 3.
Oh, okay.
I've got it. He's got to be up there, even though his stock is down. He is the most recognizable, highest paid, most talented, and accomplished Titan. That just being that has got to be high on the list. So I've got Simmons 3, which means I've got Newgarden 2. I've got Newgarden.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a shocker.
And this, if we'd done this before and if we had Newgarden, I almost think if you have Newgarden, then you have to introduce guys like Mookie Betts, who are in the same kind of category, right? Local guys who are doing it outside of Nashville. So it's hard to have Newgarden as a candidate and not Mookie Betts or Sonny Gray or pick all the problem is you open that can of worms for baseball.
We keep going.
You've got a lot of guys.
Right. And this is
where
Mookie
would be at the top of the list.
This is where the NFL
I allowed Joseph
right
Newgarden into this conversation, which perhaps I should have not cracked open the door. But
But that's it. We can't go no further than that because then we keep on going.
Yeah. Well, here's the question. Here's
Jalen Ramsey.
Well,
hold on. That's where it really gets twisted.
Exactly.
A guy from Nashville who's playing in the NFL, but not for the Titans.
Well, here's my question, Willie. So with Mookie Betts, we all know that Mookie Betts is from this area. Most baseball fans probably don't associate Mookie Betts immediately with our area.
True.
Do you think that racing fans immediately associate Joseph Newgarden with the city of Nashville?
Great question, and the answer is no. And that's I probably should factor that in.
So we got to take him off the list.
I already put it in pen. I put it in pen. Number 2.
I am willing to massage. We can massage this list before the end of the segment. That's the deadline. Okay. So that would leave my top 3 as some combination of Roman Josi, Jeffrey Simmons, and Philip Forsberg. I am putting Philip Forsberg at 3 on my list because he has had some of the greatest seasons in Predators history.
He's an all-time leading goal scorer in the franchise.
Yes. Yeah. Here's the thing about Forsberg that's interesting. If you look at goals scored since Philip Forsberg became an everyday NHL player, he's not at the top of the list, but he's probably in the top 20, top 25. He's been a consistent goal scorer in the NHL for a decade. He's only been an NHL All-Star twice, and once when he was an injury replacement early in his career. So in terms of being selected to the All-Star game on the original ballot, he has been an All-Star one time in 10-ish years, 11 years, however many years.
And the criteria has changed a couple times since he came into the league. So it's a tough one because for a while, remember, it was only within your division that you got considered.
Adam in Portland said, other sports fans, hey, how do the Titans look this year? Me, our local sports radio station debated whether the Vanderbilt quarterback was the biggest star in the city. Does that answer it? And look,
this is why we bring this up.
Exactly.
We all want Cam Ward to ascend to the top of this list and never look back for at least 10 to 15 years. But we're not there yet because we haven't seen it on the field. So if Cam Ward looks as good as we all hope, then we won't have to do this exercise for 15 years. But there is an opening right now. I have Forsberg at 3, which leaves Roman Josi and Jeffrey Simmons. I give the slight edge right now to Roman Josi because of the longevity. He's been an everyday player in Nashville for how long, Willie? More than 10
Roman
years.
Josi?
More than 10 years.
His first arrival on the scene would have been the 2012 playoffs, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had some cups of coffee before that, but he was becoming a regular and becoming a force by 2012 and just took off.
He played 72 games in 2013. So we'll call it 12 seasons. We'll call it he's been a member of the Predators for 12 seasons. He's won the Norris Trophy. So he has been recognized as the best player at his position in the game. And although at age 35, we don't know what this season brings, especially with the POTS diagnosis, he would still be considered, I think, one of the best 10 defensemen in the NHL right now. I would say he's probably in between 6 and 10. He's not top 5 right now, at least in my opinion. Plus, quite frankly, he's more likable than Jeffrey Simmons. So I think being likable is part of the appeal of being a star. And I'm not sure that Jeffrey Simmons is all that likable right now to a large swath of the Titans fan base. So I may have to give it right now to Roman Josi.
Well, I mean, obviously Josi is 3 for me. Diego Pavia, I think because of what he's been able to do, now he's going to have to, come back with a stronger encore. But what he was able to do for that team, for that university, for that program, we haven't seen it in a good while. In where Vanderbilt's program was at before he got there to where it is now. And listen, they still got a ways to go. But I think with a guy like Pavia and how he's been able to change sort of, the help change the culture. I'm not going to say it was all because of him, because Coach Lee has a huge part of that, but he helped shape the culture and what people perceive Vanderbilt to be now. They don't see them as that, bottom dweller now. They see them as a ascending team. How far can they ascend? I don't know, but people see them as an ascending team. So I'm going with Diego Pavia too. And then to me, Jeffrey Simmons, it's a no-brainer for me, because one, the sport is the biggest sport.
Yes.
And I'm going to push back on the people not liking Jeffrey Simmons. I think people love Jeffrey Simmons. What they are disappointed in his production this year, and they are disappointed in an episode that he had, during camp. They may be, irritated with some things that he says at times, but they were the same way about Mike Vrabel, and they love Mike Vrabel, and they wish they had Mike Vrabel back. So I'm gonna push
I
back
think
on that
You're
one.
making a good point, and I think that's the right nuance to put it in. There's different types of likable. The likable can
Exactly.
I think he was on the high end of likable until the stuff at the training camp last
training camp
year.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Some of the stuff that he's been criticized for, and it's legit, especially as you're held to a higher standard of leadership. But I don't think he's disliked at all. I think people really want to
they
like
want him to
and
be
he
like
is likable. He's got a lot of really good things going for him, for sure.
Can I dunk on the texter for a minute? I don't.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't like to do this very often, but I'm going to.
Are you going to quote "hang on the rim" like Michael Kay that accused the Blue Jays announcers of doing?
Would you do a Scottie Pippen like Scotty did on Patrick Ewing?
I mean, hey, Cooper Flagg's first NBA points last night. He did shoot 5 for 21, but he did jam. One texter Evan says, Forsberg is not a top 20 goal scorer. LOL. Since Philip Forsberg entered the league as an everyday player in 2014-15, he is 13th in the NHL in goal scoring. He has scored 317 goals.
Go ahead, hang on that rim.
He has scored 317 goals since 2014-15.
Do it, Daryl Dawkins.
Here are the only players who have scored more goals than Philip Forsberg since Forsberg became an everyday player for the Nashville Predators. So this was 10 years ago. Alex Ovechkin, Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, David Pastrnak, Connor McDavid, John Tavares, Sidney Crosby, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, Brad Marchand, and Mark Scheifele.
All those guys are going to be Hall of Famers.
He is, I've always said this about Forsberg. He is a star, not a superstar, right? But he is a star. That shows you. And he's got flamboyance, right? He's got style, which contributes to recognizable.
If hockey was football, he would be.
He's got a great mustache.
Yeah, he would be a guy that can elevate.
That's recognizable.
He would be a guy that can elevate his status because he's charismatic and he has the mustache. So, but hockey don't take advantage of stuff like that.
He's also never played with an elite playmaking center. True, Adam?
Yes.
And
no disrespect to Mike.
No
Ribeiro.
disrespect to the guys. Yeah, they've had some good centers, but they have not. Right, they've not had a guy that could maybe bring out another level.
Okay, so quickly, let's run through our lists from top to bottom. Willie, you go first.
I have Yossi 1. I have Newgarden 2, the controversial category that is tricky for this, and it may not fit. But if we're going to have him on the list, I got to go Newgarden 2. Simmons 3, Diego Pavia 4, Forsberg 5, Hani Mukhtar 6, Michaela Blake 7, Steven Stamkos 8, Cam Ward 9.
I do want to break some news to Jonathan in East Nashville. He says, I must be living under a rock because I had no idea Diego was coming back. Surprise!
Yes,
Jonathan.
He's turning 32 on August 1st.
No, he's back. He'll be at SEC Media Days next week. Yes, Diego Pavia returning to Vanderbilt. Surprise!
I love that.
He's coming back. He's like, what? He's still a guy.
Okay. Willie, quickly run through your list one more time.
Yossi, Newgarden, Simmons, Pavia, Forsberg, Mukhtar, Blakes, Stamkos, Ward.
Okay. Derek?
I'm going from top to bottom.
Yep.
Ward, Stamkos, Blake, Newgarden.
Oh, you're going from the bottom.
Yeah, from the bottom to the top. Yeah,
I went from the
start from the top.
Start from the top.
Oh, you want me to start from the top?
Start
Okay.
from the top. You have Simmons first.
At 1, Diego Pavia at 2, Yossi at 3, Forsberg at 4, Mukhtar at 5, Newgarden at 6, Michaela Blake at 7, Stamkos at 8, and Cam Ward, we all know why, is at 9, with the arrow going up.
Okay. I have made a slight alteration right before the deadline.
Okay.
Yossi 1, Simmons 2, Forsberg 3, Pavia 4, Mukhtar 5, Blake's 6, Newgarden 7, Stamkos 8, Ward 9. I put Newgarden at 7. In hindsight, I wish I would not have opened that door.
Okay.
But he is from Nashville, so I gave him the slight edge over Stamkos, who is the most celebrated on this list, but has only played in our city for 1 year. And I think this sums it up well from one texter. I understand why Cam Ward is at the bottom, but I bet you will talk about him 3 times more than anybody else.
Yeah,
already have.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
And we are hoping that at this time next year, when it's the middle of July, we're not saying, who's the biggest sports star in our town? We're hoping it's Cam Ward. But at this point, who's to say? Great participation, everybody. Now you can yell at us about our lists at 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. But coming up next, it's time to ask D-Mace. So call us, text us, 615-737-1025. Your questions, any and all questions for Derek Mason. Tune into ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Nashville Sounds take on Durham. Pregame begins at 5:20 and the first pitch is at 5:35. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
And there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now, D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It is that time of the week, 12:30 on Friday. So it's time for Ask D-Mace with Derek Mason, of course. 615-737-1025. Call us, text us if you have questions for Derek. Last week we went down the cartoon rabbit hole.
Oh man,
that was fun.
Quickly, I'm gonna say Nick
Frazier
made these sandwiches. And he has a sandwich truck. Is it a truck or a sandwich? He and his mom, they go out.
He has a food truck.
Yeah, food truck. He and his mom, in honor of his granddad, they have their sandwich business, and he's been going out. He's the vendor's been going out and having these sort of kind of like pop-ups, so to speak. But he's selling his sandwiches, and they sold out. They had an event yesterday, and they sold out all their sandwiches. So he brought 2 of them in. And they're pretty big and they're pretty good. I cut one in half. Willie had the other Adam, David, they're in the refrigerator. But they're pretty good, man. He needs to talk about this. Nick Frazier's just the kid's awesome, man.
I've said this many times before about Nick Frazier. He contains multitudes.
Yes.
You think you know him, but you have no idea. I still do think it's kind of he bought a pig.
Uh-huh.
He fattened the pig up.
Named the pig.
He named the pig. That's the thing I have an issue with. He named the pig Skillet. And then he and his friend, I believe, sent that pig off to be slaughtered and all these choice cuts of meat. But the naming of the pig, knowing that he was going to do that to the pig, kind of sociopathic behavior. Don't you think?
Sinister, huh?
It's not like it was his pig, but like it wasn't like he like it wasn't at his house.
Okay.
It was at his uncle's farm.
Okay.
Right. But I wouldn't have named the pig if I knew that it was going to be slaughtered.
Right
Again,
there.
that's some sociopathic behavior. Nick Frazier. Just kidding. Love you. We all love Nick Frazier. Let's go to Eric on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Eric, hit us with your dad joke and your question for Derek.
Yes, I do have a dad joke, guys. It's been about a month since I told you guys, and I hated I missed last week with the cartoon rabbit hole, whatever that was. I wish I could have been around that because I was a big fan of cartoons. But anyway, my dad joke is this. Derek, how do you have a party in outer space?
God, this one made me so obvious. I don't know.
You plan it.
Okay, that was a good dad joke right there.
Yeah.
Willie was like,
It's not your best, Eric. It's not your best, but it's not your worst.
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
Sometimes
yeah, okay,
the worst can
okay.
be the best.
Yeah.
That's right in between, so it doesn't. But it was solid.
It's solid.
It's okay.
Well, I will say this. I'm just glad I didn't get the prices right music because I've had that happen
Yes.
once before. So I've only happened it once. So I'm glad when I don't hear that.
Well,
So,
considering all the times you've called over the years, Eric, if you've only gotten that once, that says a lot.
A good
That says
percentage.
a lot.
yeah. So D-Mace, I asked D-Mace is this, and this happened, of course, a few days ago where Deion Sanders came out and he said they felt like it should be a cap on players' salaries in college football. I kind of thought that was interesting that he would say that, considering all the money he making as head coaches. There's no cap on coaches' salaries and cap where how many times they can move around and all that type of stuff. I was just surprised he said that. Just wanted to get your thoughts about a cap on player salaries, and just do you think the NCAA is going to come up with some sort of type of rules where they can try to limit that, or is it just, or can they, or just want to get your thoughts on that? Guys, y'all take care and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Well, the NCAA can't do a damn thing. They're done. I mean, they're Tommy, and nobody's even at the phone anymore right about now for the NCAA. So let's take them out of the equation. Now, Coach Sanders, he said there should be a salary cap. Well, there sort of is with the $24 what is it, $20.5 million across your athletic programs. That's all you have to spend. And now you got to decide where you're going to allocate your money. And we know a lot of universities that are in the Power Four, they're going to allocate their money to the football team. So there is a cap per se, but to try to cap the, say, individual, that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow for me. And I understand why he's doing it, because there's ways around, if you only are going to allocate, say, let's just say, to make it easy, 50% of your budget to football. And out of that 50%, you want to try to get 10, 15 players. And now you got to divvy up the money. Well, you circumvent that by the money that's outside of the NIL, with companies, you're endorsing companies or whatnot, and collectives coming together. So that's how you sort of circumvent it. And Coach Sanders knows that his program doesn't have the money that the Alabama, the Texas A&M, the Georgia, even some people that are within his own conference, he may not have the money outside of NIL. That's why he's saying we need to get a salary cap and structure it per player. He didn't say anything about the whole team. He says per player, because his thing is, well, if you have that 4-star guy, and if we all can only pay him the same amount of money, I have a better shot at getting. Now it's about how much of a game how much can I sell my university now? How much can I sell my program? Whereas when that guideline is not in place, it's not about selling the program. It's about how much money do you have to give me? So he understands that he isn't in the same fishbowl as those other teams are. And he got a point, he's not. But to say we need to now cap it with the individual position and player, I think that's taking it a little bit too far.
Jason in Clarksville, before we go to break, has a dad joke for you. I have a step ladder. Never knew my real ladder.
I think that was worthy of a.
Yeah.
Josh on our text line says, "Hey, Derek, if I wear your Ravens jersey to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame event, would people be mad?"
Yes.
Probably so. I mean, yeah.
So I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
David said that through the grapevine to people.
No.
And speaking of Josh, quickly, B-Man. Josh, if you're listening, B-Man says, "Speaking of food, Derek, my question is, have you taken your wife to Texas Roadhouse yet?" Because if you'll recall, Josh texted us a couple of weeks ago. He mistakenly texted us asking his wife if she wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse later. I don't know if that was a euphemism for anything, but he did accidentally text us, and I read it on the air.
This is the theater of mind of radio. What
Yes.
you just said there.
No. So I haven't been, what is it?
Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. No. One, it's no to both of them. I'm not married. Do have a girlfriend, but I'm not married. And I have not gone to Texas Roadhouse. Ever.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, Roadhouse. Ever.
Roadhouse.
I'm not saying there's something wrong with Texas Roadhouse.
Right.
I'm not, but I just never been, so.
And that's okay.
And it's okay.
615-737-1025. We will continue Ask D-Mace also at 1 o'clock. We will take part in Willie's NFL rewatch.
Yes.
So be listening for that at 1 o'clock, but we will continue Ask D-Mace coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. D-Mace, Finnegan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Continuing Ask D-Mace. By the way, Nick Frazier has texted in. Nico's Pizza and
Nico's,
Subs is the
yes.
name of the truck.
Mhm.
It's rocking and rolling. He says, P.S. It's common to name livestock. Homer Simpson had a pet lobster named Pinchy, which is not livestock. The difference, Nick, if you come at the king, you best not miss when it comes to Simpsons trivia. Pinchy was Homer's pet. I don't think he planned to eat him. He accidentally bathed him. He was giving him a bath, then realized what he was doing, and by that time it was too late, and then he enjoyed Pinchy.
Well, Nick, this sandwich is damn good, man. Damn good. Nico's.
I'm on it. I
Good.
am on it.
It's delicious. Nico's, Nico''S, Pizza and Subs. If you're looking to hire Nick Frazier to cater your next event. Dave on our text line discussing our star ranking
Mhm.
in Nashville. He says, if you were having a fundraiser tomorrow and charging $1,000 a plate, you would all pick Cam Ward to headline. Again,
Yeah.
that's probably true.
Mhm.
But we're in this weird space right now where we're all hopeful that Cam Ward turns into a star, but we don't know yet. We can claim a year ago that most of us had doubts about Will Levis being a star, and we saw how that crashed and burned.
Mhm.
So we're sort of guarding ourselves, I guess, against the possibility that Cam Ward might not cut it. But we're all hopeful that Cam Ward, for the next 15 years, we won't have to do this exercise. By that point, Willie and Derek, they'll still be on the radio. They'll be getting their AARP cards by then.
Pretty much so.
I'll be in my early 50s at that point. So I don't think I'll qualify for a senior citizen discount, but we're hoping for it. Matthew in Nashville wants to know, Derek, what your favorite vacation spot is during the summertime.
Oh, home.
That's where all my stuff is.
Yes. I've been to several places. I don't have necessarily have a favorite. To me, is wherever I'm at and the kids are at. Because I have really I have a wonderful time with my kids when we travel. So anywhere we go, as long as they are there, I'm gonna have fun. So I don't have necessarily I've had some really good vacations, yes. But I don't have, it's like my favorite has always been when I spent with the kids. I guess that one in particular, and this was when they were a little younger. We went to Europe, and sort of we did the Rome and everything else, all that. And just being there with the kids and that age, and they're growing and they're learning. And that was just a fun time for me and the kids. So
I've got one on the text line here.
Okay.
And I'm just pretend that I texted.
Okay.
It's actually for me, but it's going to lead us into your, the 1 o'clock hour.
Mhm.
We're going to look at a game from 1986 and look and just kind of share our observations, how football has changed or stayed the same over 40 years, a rewatchable game. But it reminded me of back in the day. Your first time you played tackle football,
Mhm.
what was your face mask? What was the design of your
Ooh.
face mask?
The first sort of helmet.
When you had a helmet,
hated
what
it.
was the face mask?
I had the first face mask they gave me was the one bar down the middle, and then the two stripes. Because
Plastic.
to protect, it was plastic.
It was plastic. Okay,
That was the old school. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, old school. ones.
my first year in 7th grade, I had the Roger Staubach. Just
Yes,
plastic,
the Dallas Cowboy.
What was that plastic really doing for you?
Nothing.
Not much. And then it was that, or they'd put a plastic bar down the middle
Yeah.
just so you didn't get poked in the eye or something. So
Mhm.
that was your first one.
It's a long time ago, man. It's a long time ago.
Now, was it not a big thrill when you got like a real?
Ooh,
What was your go-to face mask as you got
it was
like to
just
high school?
Just the regular. No, I did the Eric Dickerson when I was in high school, because the Eric
Okay.
Dickerson, it had the two lines on the side, and you can only see Eric Dickerson's eyes.
Yeah.
So that was popular. The Eric
Yeah.
Dickerson face mask, whether you're all running backs had it back during those days, especially in high school, if you can get it, because they only
He
got
had
so many.
like the loops.
Yeah,
right? The
they
little loops.
only got so many of those face masks in. So guys would be rushing in high school to get that face mask, and you couldn't get it unless you were a good player. So I was able to get it. So I rocked the Eric Dixon face
It had
mask.
the two. It was like your regular quarterback face mask, but it had the two bars.
Yeah.
Kind of outside the width of your eyes, so
Mhm.
you could see straight ahead, but it gave you more protection.
Yeah.
In the
So I
middle. I'm
like
looking at it
that
right
in
now.
the Jerry Rice face mask. I always just went with the Jerry Rice face mask once I got in high school and stuff like that.
Jason in Clarksville, who told the step ladder dad joke, would like an opportunity to redeem himself.
Go ahead, buddy.
Jason in Clarksville. How do you
Redemption.
find a blind man at a nudist colony?
You can't because you're blind.
It's not hard.
See?
We opened up the door. We gave him a chance.
That's why you can't give people second chances.
I think everybody deserves a second chance.
That's why there's no such thing as redemption, okay? No.
No more dad jokes for him.
No, I'm just messing with you. It was a good one, but I don't know.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Andrew from Dover wants you to make your all-time Oilers/Titans offense. You must pick 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers. We know who one of those is going to be. 2 tight ends, and then 1 player at each offensive line position.
Okay, let me quickly. Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Steve
McNair, and I will put Ryan Tannehill on there.
Okay. 2 running backs.
2 running backs, Eddie and
Now you can
Derek.
include Oilers if you want to.
To me, Eddie and Derek.
Okay. Fair enough.
3
other receivers.
Wide receivers, yeah, 3 others. Obviously, AJ Brown. Let me see. It's tough, man. God, it's tough. Kevin Dyson.
Okay.
I got Drew Bennett.
Okay, so that's 4.
That's 4.
2 tight ends. One's going to be
Gosh,
Frank
and I
Wycheck.
left out Nate Washington, but I didn't pick it because he did. Gosh, I hate it, man, because Nate's my dude.
And he wore your number.
And he's wore my number, and he did it proud. So now who?
You need 2 tight ends.
2 tight ends. Frank Wycheck and Delaney Walker.
And now you need 1 player at each offensive line position.
B-Hop. Give me
what position are you putting Bruce Matthews?
I'm putting Bruce at guard
Because he played all those
Yeah,
positions.
he played all.
So you're putting
I'm putting at my left tackle. I got Brad Hopkins.
okay.
Left
guard,
guard.
Bruce Matthews.
Bruce Matthews.
Center.
It would be Ben Jones. Right guard. Did Benji play right guard? I think
Yes, he did.
Benji would be, but then you got other guys step. Now step was center.
Yep.
And then I would have to move Taylor to right tackle. I would have to move because I want Taylor
big
on
country.
there. Yeah, I want, and then you got Big Country,
Runyon,
John Runyon. God, but I don't want to go. I just don't want to put all of my guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're trying to spread it.
But
spread
you're
the love.
biased, and
Yeah,
that's
but I'm biased,
understandable.
and that's
This is
why-
Ask D-Mace.
Exactly, because I would have Taylor on there, but he plays left tackle, so I have B-Hop. That's why I thought about just swinging him to right, but then you had, not Fred Miller, but you had John Runyon. You had Big Country.
Fred Miller was pretty good for a while.
Yeah,
too.
Fred was pretty good. So I'm going to put John Runyon at right tackle because I played with him. That doesn't mean that I don't think that Big Country was an awesome, great Titan because he was. Not to say that Taylor Lewan wasn't a great Titan because he was. But if I can't switch Taylor from left to right, Jack Conklin needs to be on there. But it's just so there you go. My offensive line. I gave my offensive line. Runyon at the right tackle.
Josh texted back in and said, "Love this show. Go from talking about loving our kids to naked men." David, clip that. Let's air it before our show every day.
Man. So that would be my Titans starting offense.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've seen in the news that Najee Harris sustained an eye injury after a fireworks mishap at a July 4th event. He's okay. The injury was quote unquote superficial, and that Harris is expected to be ready for the upcoming NFL season. Harris's agent, however, said the mishap, quote unquote, resulted in injuries to several attendees. One person was hospitalized after he lost fingers in the accident in Antioch, California. Have you ever had any interesting run-ins with fireworks or anything like that?
Yes, I have, but it was when I was younger. Because I made sure as an adult, even though I love fireworks, my kids loved it too. I always tried to be as safe as humanly possible with fireworks. Because the last time somebody wants to see, you blow off your hand, your kid sitting right there, and it becomes a traumatic event for everybody involved. But it doesn't seem like he was the guy that was lighting the fireworks. He just probably was a part of the attendance.
My assumption is he was there.
Yeah, he was there and ended up getting hit with one of the stray.
But fireworks are dangerous,
Yeah,
man.
they are, man. I told you all about when I went in New York, they were lighting the fireworks by the pier after everything, and then they started going sideways and everybody started to disperse because people don't understand that these things are powerful and you put them in a little pop bottle. Remember Willie, we used to put ours in a little pop bottle, shoot them up there.
Yeah.
And nowadays those things are powerful. You can't put it in a little pop bottle anymore because they're going to fall and then shoot toward you. So, but I did have one as a kid. And I'm reminded about this every time I see my sister because the mark is on her foot.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
So we were younger. We were both young. I may have been like 10. So she was about 7. This is back in the day where my parents, my mom and dad left and went over to my grandparents' house to drop off my younger brother and sister. And we were there. And my older brother was on his way home from work, but we were there for that brief, hour or so by ourselves. It was about an hour. And my dad told us to not play with those. Don't mess with those. He told us clearly not to do it. Okay.
So you
fine.
did.
So I did. So my sister had on these shoes and they may be still out now. They were called jellies. They were these plastic sort of
I'm familiar.
Footwear for the summer. They were like sandals, but they were plastic. So I had this bright idea to attach one of them to my sister's shoe. And my sister, greatest sister, she's my younger big sister. She said, fine, let's do it. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that I thought I put a firecracker in her shoe. No, I put those spinners and the fire comes out. I put it on her shoe and lit it. That thing started to go around in circles. Oh man, I never got beat like that in my life. Once my dad got, you talk about that was a beat that, and I deserved it. And here's the bad part about it. My parents come home, and I tell my sister, don't tell mom and dad.
The first thing she does is tell them.
No.
Okay.
I wrapped the foot up. I don't know what I wrapped it up in, but I wrapped it up.
Tape.
And we were downstairs. My sister was a trooper. She was a ride and die. She didn't tell. But parents called, hey, what are y'all doing down there? You got to come upstairs. And all of a sudden, they see this. You talking about the worst, the longest, like 3 or 4 hours in my life is when my dad looked at me and say, we'll be back. They took my sister to the hospital emergency. We'll be back. Boy, oh boy.
Your mind.
The
lead up.
The lead up, man.
Oh, man.
I never put on so many pants and everything else. And when he got home, he said, take them off. And boy, oh boy, I remember that being to this day. And I deserved it because I did it, okay?
Will that make it into your speech next week?
No, I won't make it into the speech.
Okay.
I won't make it to the speech. It may. Some other things will. But it's not a speech. It's a Q&A. So,
We'll give you an opportunity to have a speech, I'm sure, between now and next week when you are inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we gave you a little bit of homework. We have an NFL rewatch segment. Willie has picked out a game. We tweeted it out. We'll tweet it out again. You can watch along and react in real time. But as we end the week, we're going to look back at how football was 40 years ago and the major changes on the field, in the broadcast booth, all of those things, how the game has evolved over the past 4 decades. We'll do that next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you as we inch closer to the weekend. So we are going to end our program today and for the week by doing a little NFL rewatch. Now, some of you may be familiar with the Ringer podcast, The Rewatchables.
Love it.
Where Bill Simmons and his cast of characters, they go back and watch old movies and react to them. And Willie had the idea of doing a similar project with an NFL game. And as you've learned over the course of the week, Willie does this on his own time all the time.
And there's no podcast.
And there's
it's
no
a podcast
Exactly.
of one. I talked to myself about it.
I'm sure your kids are like, what's going on? What's Dad doing downstairs? Why is he talking to himself about this game from 1986? Is Dad okay? But now we're going to give Willie an outlet to do it without talking to himself. He's going to talk to us and all of you. So Willie has selected a game from 1986. Week 3, Miami Dolphins and New York Jets. We tweeted out the link yesterday, David James, if you would be so kind as to tweet out the link again. So if you missed it, you can watch it right now if you'd like and listen to us and react in real time. But since this was Willie's idea, I would like to hand it over to Willie to explain what we're going to do and what some of the things he was looking for as he did this exercise.
First, if you're enough of a nut or a junkie to have actually watched the whole broadcast, like I invited you to do,
congratulations.
I commend you for your nerdness, your sports junkiness.
It was more than 3 hours long.
The disease we all love having as sports fans, you would actually take the time to do it. If you skimmed it or if you didn't, what I thought would be fun is just watch part of a game and just see what jumps out at you. What looks completely different? What looks the same? And what are some of the fun little things that you see with the fashion of the time, the pop culture of the time? So I said 40 years. We're rounding up. It's 1986, which isn't quite 40. But I picked this game because it was, if you did take the time to watch it, hopefully it entertained you. It was 51-45. I remember watching it as a teenager. It was the number one game of the week. It was a noon game.
I wasn't alive yet.
No.
You were not alive yet. But it was Dan Marino in his prime against the Jets, a division rival. The Jets, both teams were playoff teams. Both teams made the playoffs the year before and the year. It's early in the season. It was a great crowd at Giant Stadium. Beautiful day. Dan Marino threw 6 touchdown passes and lost. The Jets had a lead, lost the lead, came back, scored a touchdown on the last play of the game to tie it, and then threw a touchdown pass on the first series of overtime to win it. So it was a thrilling game. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen were on the call. They were NBC's number one team at the time. So I kind of just said different categories. What do you see in the broadcast? What do you see on the field that jumps out? I asked D-Mace in particular to look at if anything jumps out at him scheme-wise. So I just want to sort of go around the room and maybe say what would be the one, and if people did this or if people just hearken back to participate in the discussion, you can text us or call. What do you think when you see highlights of a game from that era? What is the number one thing that you think of? And maybe we'll spark some discussion with our thoughts. So Adam, you being not having been born at the time,
still 3 years away.
What was the most stark thing that jumped out at you when you watched the game?
So I was watching this from more of a broadcast perspective.
Yes.
I was looking at how the game was presented on television. And there was something that I saw that I pounced on. The 10-minute ticker. The 10-minute ticker. And I have found a story about how the 10-minute ticker changed the way we watch sports. So back then, there was not a constant scroll at the bottom of your screen with up to the second updates on every other game going on. NBC, theoretically, was going to show updates from other games every 10 minutes. Michael Wiseman, the producer at NBC who invented it, he called it the 10-minute ticker. Why? He liked the alliteration. That's what he said, the 10-minute ticker. And it was just overlaid on top of the action. So it wasn't a highlight package. It was just, here are the scores. And I don't think there were even times on the scores. It was just like Buffalo 0, Indianapolis 0, first. Like first quarter.
Right.
That's all it was. As Michael Wiseman explained to Yahoo Sports, we didn't compress the screen back then. Now the score is along the bottom. So we would just put the score over the picture you were seeing. I would call the producer of a particular game and say, put the other game up. He'd say, I can't. It's going to block the action and the ball is on the 10. So sometimes the updates were not done every 10 minutes. I have found a review from Bill Marks of the Orlando Sentinel. Here was his review.
I was living in Orlando. This was my newspaper at the time.
Here was his review of the 10-minute ticker. Quote, after 2 weeks of timing NBC's 10-minute ticker, I've decided that no one at NBC can tell time. I'd hate to be serving detention in elementary school with my afternoon sentence based on NBC's idea of 10 minutes. During Sunday's Dolphins-Bills game, NBC gave scoring updates at 1:17, 1:47, 1:59. 12 minutes, not bad. 2:42, 2:57, and 3:20.
Not exactly 10 minutes.
Not exactly 10 minutes.
And it's hard to get all that in.
But just thinking back, the other thing too, and Dylan and Antioch mentioned this on our text line as well, there being no constant score bug at the bottom of the screen is so odd. They might have a little clock, but the score was not always on the screen. Nowadays, people don't just freak out about if there's a score bug on the screen or not. People freak out about the design of the score bug. Because usually during the Super Bowl, whichever network is broadcasting it may unveil a new score bug. And I even remember during this past Super Bowl, people were like, oh no, the score bug, it's so ugly. And now there was a time where there wasn't a score bug.
Yeah, it was not on there at all. And so they only flashed the score periodically or when the score changed. Even the clock and the down and distance was not constantly up there. That didn't come along until the early 90s. I think Fox, when they finally got rights.
I think it's called the Fox Box.
The Fox Box.
The Fox Box.
Yeah.
By the way, one texter said, not to toot my own horn or anything. He goes, all this time I thought Adam was older. No, texter. No. I am the ripe age of 36.
So the 10-minute ticker, it was the early days where fantasy football was just starting to get traction. I played and my buddies played. So we would be watching, but then you were thinking when the score changed on the 10-minute ticker, they never told you unless they went back to the studio, which they still do today, who scored for the other team. You're like, oh, there's a touchdown being scored by Denver. Is that I have John Elway? Is that a touchdown pass? You would not know. Now we are so used to every single time a score changes, you know who scored it, how many yards it was, because it's constantly being scrolled.
Oftentimes, oftentimes you'll learn before you see it on TV.
Right?
How many times are you monitoring your fantasy lineup? You're watching the game. Let's say it's a Titans game, and you'll see on your phone Calvin Ridley touchdown before Calvin Ridley actually catches the touchdown.
Back then, there's no internet, so to do our fantasy, sometimes you had to wait until the paper came out on Monday, and really Tuesday because you had a Monday night game, to really tabulate your whole score. It was all manually done. All right, so
that's what stood out to me.
Okay, so
the 10-minute ticker.
What was your number one, D-Mace?
Oh man, I guess for me it was just sort of the structure of the game and the movement of the game. I forgot that when you kicked it out of bounds, you got to re-kick it. It wasn't
right.
a penalty.
The opening kickoff,
exactly,
Pat Leahy kicks it out of bounds. and it was one of those things where you couldn't get the ball to stay on the tee, and then he kicks it out. You just moved it 5 yards back and kicked it again.
Exactly. And then, looking at the sidelines are not littered with unconsequential, like people that shouldn't be there. Like,
right.
You shouldn't be there. Why are you here?
There are no get back coaches.
Exactly. Right. Even if there's no other people, celebrities, all these other people that are scouring the sidelines. The sidelines look as if you can move around freely. You look at games now, there's so many people on the sideline, so many celebrities and cameras and everything else that the sideline just seems so packed. When you watch games now, I mean, there's really people that are associated with the teams, and there's not many broadcasting, because broadcasting back then isn't what it is now. So you don't see 4 or 5 trucks, outside the building. You don't see those big cranes inside the building here, video, recording the game and giving you other advantages. So to me, that's what I initially saw first. But then obviously, once you get into the game, you start to see some of the things schematically that have changed. And some things they are calling, some things they are not calling. But as far as player wise, I told Willie this, I think it was yesterday. I said, man, these guys it didn't seem like they had the athleticism that the guys have now.
And they were just smaller players.
Yeah, they were just smaller players. In the game, even though some of those guys were running fast, they didn't look like it. It didn't look like a fast game going on. Now, the Miami Dolphins were ahead of a lot of teams as far as the offensive output, but it just still seemed like a slower game for me.
Speaking of the sideline, I thought it was very noteworthy. Don Shula, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and Joe Walton, who was, not one of the greatest coaches of all time, but he had his day. Both are the coaches on the sideline, head coaches. Neither of them is wearing a headset. There is no communication by either head coach on a headset of any kind. Imagine that today. And not only that, they both called the plays.
Yeah. There was no offensive coordinator, at least not for Miami. There wasn't a guy that was labeled the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. So Don Shula is sending the guy in with the play.
Yeah.
Joe Walton is sending a guy. So you had to sub on every play. But that's how they did it back then.
No tablets, no Microsoft Surface tablets.
Right.
Our friend Gover says, my biggest reaction when I see old games or clips is how those guys basically played on cement.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Yeah.
There's no question about it. That was high on my list, was the rug.
Yeah.
And sure enough, in this game, and I didn't do it for this reason, but I did it because it was just a great game. But Hugh Green, a famous player, great college player, a Heisman Trophy candidate as a defensive player, he messed up his knee really bad on the turf. And you look at the highlights of other games, just the old style AstroTurf.
Yeah, it was
brutal.
awful.
Just brutal. How did they ever like to me, that's the throwback time machine going, who ever thought that was a good idea?
How about NFL Update 86? What?
NFL 86. NFL 86. Let's go to Bob Costas in the studio. Bob Costas was the
NFL
guy.
86.
Ahmad Rashad was in there. And Paul McGuire. And they would have the clips from the other games. There were some interesting special teams plays that were thrown in there. There was one play where they, instead of Buddy Ryan was the coach of the Eagles, and he ran a play where he had his punter fake like he was going to punt it and then just fire the ball as a pass.
Yeah.
And he got the pass interference call, and they kept the ball.
The other thing that stands out to me, the sleeves. The player sleeves are so long. Like they look like when you're a kid and you wear a football jersey where the sleeves are baggy and they go past your elbows.
A lot of stripes visible.
Yes. Not a lot of extra stuff. You see a lot of athletes today wearing different types of, wristbands and arm sleeves and calf sleeves and jewelry. Very bare bones, these football players. But I was like, the sleeves are so long. Like
the sleeves are long. The stripes, D-Mace, used to be something you had pride. Like you wanted the stripes to sort of flap. Now you don't want anybody being able to grab anything.
No,
right?
The jerseys were much looser.
Much looser.
Then now they want them basically skin tight so you can't grab hold to jersey. So you can get that disadvantage, especially defensive guys. They have their shirts. If they could have shirts painted on, they would.
This was another one about the jerseys themselves. The Dolphins had what we used to call in Florida, because I remember the last year I played, they had like the net mesh. Yeah. You can see through the jersey. You could actually see the structure of the shoulder pads through the jersey. just to keep it, I guess, a little bit cooler.
Yeah, because it's so hot down there.
Yeah, because Miami, they had it like that. So that was a style that I don't think has ever come back. But I remember it's literally like a net.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see through it, rather.
All right, let's see if David, another youngster, has
let's
an
get to
observation
David
very youngster,
before we
like-
get to
Yeah.
break.
I think 10 years before.
Right.
I was like -10 whenever
You were
this came out.
-10.
-10. One of the things I noticed was I think it was after Dan Marino threw his first touchdown, is like 41 straight games or 41 of 43 games of having one touchdown pass. I think that's, to me, like, I thought that was crazy to see that, like, that was a big milestone for him, just because, like, so
Quote, unquote.
many,
Yeah.
quote unquote milestone, because like so many guys throw one touchdown a game nowadays. That was
So
one of the first things I saw.
That's a good one. And there were two graphics that jumped out at me with Marino, because it was in his third year, maybe fourth year, and he took the league by storm. Right, he was taking it to another level. He had 6 touchdown passes. He had over 400 yards passing. It was his 6th 400-yard passing game, and that already in his fourth year, the beginning of his fourth year, was second all time.
Oh, wow.
Now, and I think Dan Fouts had the lead with 8 or something like that at that point in 1986. I would venture to say that the number of 400-yard passing games has, grown exponentially in the last 40 years, for sure. And how about this? Passer rating. We sometimes talk about passer rating. It was a thing back then. Dan Marino and Joe Montana had become the highest passer rating guys of all time. Marino at 96.4, Montana 92.4, and the guy who was third all time, Roger Staubach, 83.4. Now, if you're 83.4, you're like, this guy can't be a starter.
a bum.
This guy's a bum. He can't do it. So, like, the standard for passer rating and interceptions and efficiency,
Oh, it's changed.
it's way, way higher.
615-737-1025. What stood out to you if you watched this game between the Dolphins and Jets from week 3 of 1986, or if you just have memories of the presentation of football, the game of football from 40 years ago? What's been the biggest change over the past 4 decades? 615-737-1025. We will continue this coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063, The Game.
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Derek Mason, and I know you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD. So if you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a resolution to shed some extra pounds only to face disappointment. But I got some news here, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his staff understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
Gervais to kick it off. 15-minute sudden death. Safety, field goal, touchdown. It's over. But only 15 minutes. It comes to Michael Harper. Ooh, and he's cracked hard. Fumbles. And who's got it? Miami, if they rule that a fumble. Was he down?
We haven't seen a signal from the officials.
If it's a fumble, it'll be the fourth. No, they're motioning Jets ball. Marino thought it was his. And very nearly was.
Go back and take a quick peek at it. Traffic right there. The shot to the ball. Woody Bennett.
Oh, that was a fumble. It was a fumble, and unless the Jets get it off, they're going to vibrate.
Let's see what we can see with this one. Legs going down.
Matter now. They get a play off.
D-Mace, Finnegan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, doing our version of the rewatchables here with an NFL game Willie picked out from 1986, Dolphins versus Jets. Okay, I do have another observation. The fashion
It's awesome.
in 1986. I'm looking at a lot of big hair, men and women. I'm looking at a lot of big hair. The other thing I notice, they're all looking at the field because they're not,
Yes.
they don't have their heads buried in their cell phones. I'm looking, I paused on a shot of the crowd. They are all looking at either each other or toward the field. Not one person looking down to the cell phone because they didn't have cell phones. So fans were more engaged and they had an interesting fashion taste back then.
And it was, I think, a better crowd for that reason. Also, and by the way, I have a few entries in the fashion. By the way, even if you didn't watch this particular game, if you have a fun thought that you want to text in or call in about just what was so different when you think about when you watched the game or what you saw at a game that you would just never see today in any sporting event, but football is what we're focusing on today, just text us 615-737-1025.
One texter says, players today are jacked, not so in 1986.
There's no doubt about it.
You're right
There's
about
no
that.
doubt about it. Now, Mark Gastineau, he was kind of jacked. He also had an extreme mullet.
Yes.
I mean, extreme. Dan Marino had a nice little mullet going.
A lot of mullets in the crowd.
A lot of mullets in the crowd.
A lot of mullets in the crowd. A lot of Jerry Seinfeld hair, like
Yes.
early Jerry Seinfeld hair.
No question. And the trucker hat to go with it, like
Yes.
the big foam front with the mesh back. That was the huge style in the crowd with that. And the coaching staff.
Coaches wore the same thing.
No doubt about
What
it.
I saw too was a lot of tape on
A lot of
players'
tape.
wrists. No gloves, even
Yeah.
wide receivers, no gloves, but a bunch of tape. I'm sure they had to stick them on there, Willie. If,
They
young
probably
folks,
did, yeah.
Young folks don't know about to stick them, but they didn't have gloves on, but they had tape wrapped up to their elbows and around their hands. So
One texter said,
occasional neck guard.
yes, neck guards.
Sonny says, have you mentioned the fact the quarterback did the backpedal dropbacks and how much that part
Yes,
is
Dan
changed?
Marino.
Nobody would ever do
But
that.
Dan
now.
Marino was known for that.
Yeah.
That was his
And
drop
Dan
back.
Fouts was famous for the back pedal drop.
Yeah, you can't do that now.
Now, what we heard David play there was the opening kickoff of overtime. It's 45-45. The Jets tied the game on the last play of regulation. They win the toss. They get the kickoff. They fumbled it. I mean, there's no question about it. It's a fumble. But it was the primitive days of replay. I think, if I've got this right, it was the first year that they actually had any kind of replay system, and they missed the call. The problem was that they didn't buzz down in time to the referee. So there was there was no challenge system back then. There was a guy in the replay booth that was supposed to buzz down to the ref and say, we need to look at this again. And the Jets ran up to the ball and they ran the first play of overtime before, and you could hear Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen saying, let's get another look at it. Let's get another look at it. And as they were looking, like, oh man, that should be Dolphins ball. But it was too late. And the Jets took the ball down the field and scored the winning touchdown in overtime. And now D-Base is looking at another blooper from the game where there was a dead play. The play was blown dead, and Dan Marino threw the ball anyway, and the referee made a great catch.
It was a perfect route, a perfect throw. he expected somebody to be there, and the ref was there.
It was great. They showed it on the Jumbotron. Okay, and speaking of fans in the stands, Adam, this is another observation I saw. Fans in the stands. Not only do they not have a phone and they're actually watching the game, but several had another thing around their neck. Binoculars.
Oh.
That used to be a big thing.
Yeah, because you didn't have the big
They didn't have the
Videotrons,
huge.
yeah.
Now, really, you don't need to wear binoculars
No.
to a game,
Mm-mm.
right?
No,
There's
you
no
don't.
reason.
Yeah.
The
Either one,
binocs.
you look at your phone or you look up at the huge television that's in front of you.
Yes. That would
on
be a
the
way
field.
better view than anything you could get on binoculars. But people would bring binoculars
Mhm.
because if you had a Jumbotron, it was smaller and you would want to focus from the upper deck on something closer. So I thought that's the classic 80s look, the trucker hat with kind of a sort of a butterfly collar, not 70s, but a little more polyester.
A lot of Budweiser paraphernalia
Yes.
I noticed in the crowd as well.
Yes.
Specifically Budweiser.
How about the graphics on the scoreboards when it said
Yes.
defense? I like it.
Yeah.
They should bring it back. I like
Old
the
school,
graphics.
yeah, with the lights, like
Yeah.
the bright lights.
Dylan says, I'd like to know what the price of the tickets were to go see that game.
Ooh. I
Great
would
question.
Probably, let's say, Lower Bowl.
Let's just look it up.
That would have been
Lower Bowl.
that would've
What
been
are Lower Bowl
the
now?
that would have been the Meadowlands, right?
The Meadowlands, yep.
Yeah, this is in the Meadowlands. I would say $25 for Lower Bowl tickets.
Oh man.
Price in 1986.
I
The
think it-
average ticket price.
25.
This is Googling.
Yeah, AI is pulling it up.
Yeah, it's still. Oh, I might have stumped the
Yeah, ooh.
Google. It's taking a while for this
The
to pull up.
Google.
So I got one that said in November 2nd, 1986, it was listed online with a price of $20 for a New York
Oh.
Giants game.
That sounds
Ah.
about right.
Yeah.
And I think I lived in Orlando.
Mhm.
If you drive to the Bucks,
Oh, you can get in
you
free.
can probably get a pretty much.
They'd probably pay you
name
to
your
go
price.
inside.
Yeah.
They'd pay you to go
Kinda
inside.
name your price.
The
We had
Super
like-
Bowl in 1986 was $75.
So that got to tell
The
you
Super
that
Bowl.
lower bowls were like during the season, they had to be about $20-some.
Yeah, and really no luxury boxes
Yeah.
at the time. That was not really a thing.
One texter says, I'm old, so I remember Stickum when they had to replace the
Yes.
ball after 3 or 4 plays because the ball was so messed up.
Yeah.
Not NFL. I remember attending a Vanderbilt game in the late 70s. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Frank Mordika had his jersey.
Frank Mordika.
Frank
Yeah.
Mordika, sorry. Frank Mordika had his jersey ripped off his body about 7 or 8 times in the game. They kept a box of those torn jerseys on the sideline to be thrown away later. Needless to say, they never made it to the trash because back then fans could exit the field.
Wow.
So those jerseys were gone.
Yes.
I wonder if we could look up the average size offensive lineman in 1986. I'll bet you it was well
It was
under 300
I
pounds.
guarantee you it was 265.
Do you think it was 265?
265.
I'll bet you.
260 in between 265 270.
I'll bet it's even lower than that. I think you're close.
Uh-huh.
I think you're close. But now, what would it be now? It's well over 300 now.
Yeah, it's got to be
The average.
So
low
I looked
three.
this up. It was around 6'4" and 272 to 275 pounds.
Oh,
That's an
wow.
offensive line.
Offensive line, yeah.
In 86.
I do
Wow.
remember.
So you're right on it, D-Mace.
Mhm.
I do remember, I guess it would have been during this year's Super Bowl, I think. They were talking about the Eagles' offensive line,
Mhm.
and they had the average height and weight of the Eagles' offensive line versus, I believe, the Packers' offensive line from the first Super Bowl. I hope I'm
Mhm.
remembering this
yeah,
correctly.
Yeah. They won the first Super
I
Bowl.
believe the difference in average weight was 100 pounds
Oh wow,
on the offensive line.
that's huge, man.
That's
Well,
a-
back then it
that's-
was just
yeah.
relative because the defensive players were not that big either. So
Here's another one. And it's another thing that we take for granted now. The yellow line for the first
yes.
down.
No yellow line.
Still years away from coming in. In fact, it might have been when you were playing, D-Mace, the first iteration of the yellow line.
Mhm.
That'd be one look up. What was the first
Yeah.
season?
Ooh.
But it was really old school. You had this terrible turf that was not painted real well, the yard markers. The only way you knew as you're watching the game that the first down was going, you kind of had to know in your mind if it's 3rd and 8, how far 8 yards. If they threw it to the sideline, you might see the orange thing that you still put out there with the chain gang. But in the middle of the field, you'd have to just eyeball it and say, did he get the first down?
According to Wikipedia, the 1st and 10 line was first broadcast by Sportvision, a private company, during ESPN's coverage of a Bengals-Ravens game on September 27th, 1998.
Okay, so right,
I was
D-Mace
playing.
is
Yeah, that was my
the
first
rise
year.
of D-Mace is the
Second
rise
year.
of the yellow line.
Yeah, there we go.
And then they still, back then, 2 or 3 times per game, they rarely these days bring out the chain gang to measure the first down. They still do it occasionally, but back then, those guys were a lot more busy, right?
You
Coming
have
out.
to get the dramatic zoom in of
Yeah.
the tip of the football
Right.
as they're stretching the chain across the field. Yes, just the no frills approach to the broadcast. Today, we are inundated with so much stuff during a broadcast. High-end graphics and the score bug and replays and all of those things. It's easy to get distracted when watching the game. At this point, it's just the game.
Yeah.
It's just the game.
Yeah. It's pleasant in some ways. It's simpler. For example, Merlin Olsen, who was considered a top end analyst, he would be the NBC guy. And of course, John Madden had become the CBS guy by then. But they did not get the detail of the schemes like some of the guys do today. Fair to say?
Yeah, no,
D-Mace?
no,
Like
yeah,
when
no,
they're
you're right.
showing you
Yeah.
a replay, they're not using fancy terminology very much. It's very simple, which I think is a lot easier relatable to the fan watching. And that's the trick sometimes, is to not get too technical. Like, remember when John Gruden started doing those games, man, did he ever have a lot of lingo because he was a play caller, right? He goes, this is a smash.
Why?
A
Something
YZ. Like he would have some serious terminology. A wham block or an out route, a drag, and he had a lot of things, but he had to be careful not to overdo it, because then you would lose me.
I think
I didn't worry about Merlin Olsen losing me.
Yeah, I think
when he was
tried
talking about what he was talking about.
He tried to be more so in the John Madden sort of broadcasting of a game. Like that's what I think Gruden was, because he wanted to give you the terminology, and it was almost like because Madden played, he coached, and then he goes in the box. Well, Gruden coaches, and Gruden played in college, didn't he? I know his brother played in college.
I think he played in
the Arena
Dayton.
League.
Yeah.
So
Jay was a great arena league
He was
quarterback.
he was. So when you play coach, I think you try to bring that flair. At least John Madden and Gruden did that flair to the booth, and I think both of them did it.
I got to give a shout out to the late Dick Enberg, who was one of the greatest of all time, and one big thrill for me as a young broadcaster when the Titans first came to town. I had a gig as I was sort of, in addition to what we were doing for the radio show before and after the game. During the game, I, if needed, could be a spotter for the broadcast, and sometimes it would be the network broadcast, and I got to do some games that Dick Enberg did. He was sort of later in his career by then. In the mid-'80s, he was in his prime. But, man, he was awesome. Now, David, do we have the game-tying touchdown or the game-winning touchdown that you can play?
Yes, I got the game-winning.
All right, here's the game winner. Okay, so this is it's 45-45. The Jets have, escaped fumbling the opening kickoff of overtime. They shouldn't have the ball, but they do.
It was a fumble.
It was definitely a fumble. So now Wesley Walker, who was my
Walker.
brother had the Wesley Walker Jets jersey, number 85. So Mark Duper is 85 for the Dolphins. He had an enormous game. Mark Duper, Mark Clayton were incredible. And 85 for the Jets is Wesley Walker. He was there for a long time. He's already caught 3 touchdown passes in the game, including the last play of regulation to tie it. So here we go from about midfield. Here's Dick Enberg.
Those guys have been down in the trenches knocking it out, doing a fine job of that.
Take to Hector. O'Brien going for it all. To Walker. Touchdown. Oh, my.
Lay out. Let the crowd talk. Show the pictures. This is TV broadcasting 101. You punctuate, you let the crowd hit. And then when the moment comes back, then you do the denouement, if you will. But oh my, Dick Enberg, nobody like him for sure. He was awesome.
615-737-1025. Perhaps we'll do this exercise again. A lot of great
We
reaction.
might have to do an old Titans game.
That
Yeah.
would
To
that
try
would
to
be
spark a little more interest.
yes, that would be
for
a
people
good
who saw it.
idea. We can probably find
They're
time
just
to
not
do
as.
that.
I just thought the older nostalgia, pre-Titans. There's a bigger gap between what we see today, and what we saw back then. I don't know that it would look as different if you did a game from the 1999 or 2000 season. Do we think?
I think it would look more.
A little.
It would be the beginning of the beginning stages of what we know now. This was
I agree.
a much different product.
Much more primitive, if you will.
That's a good word for it. 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the week. We'll take it to the bank. Coming up next, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025, 1063, The Game. D. Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Fingan, David James. Wrapping up the week with you. Stillman and Company coming up next. Jared is back. Jared does this weird thing where he takes off 4 days and works once. I don't get it. Just take the whole week off, dude. But he's coming back. We're happy to have Jared back. Quickly, before we get to take it to the bank, a programming note for all of you. So next week, DVD, instead of being on from our normally scheduled time of 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will be on from 9 a.m. to noon next week. Chase and Big Joe will be live at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. So Chase and Big Joe will be on next week from noon to 3. So we will be on from 9 to noon all next week. Chase and Big Joe live from SEC Media Days will be on from 12 to 3. Stillman and Company from 3 to 6. And, of course, Robbie and Rex Road from 6 to 9. By the way, 102.5 The Game's SEC Media Day coverage is sponsored by Brewhouse South. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Vanderbilt, the Vanderbilt contingent, speaks on Monday. Clark Lee, Diego Pavia, defensive back Martell Height, and safety / outside linebacker Randon Fontenette. And I imagine that at least one, if not multiple, of those players / coach will be on our programs on Monday. So we will get back to you with that. So again, DVD on next week from 9 to noon instead of 11 to 2. Chase and Big Joe live from SEC Media Days from noon to 3. All right, let's take it to the bank, presented by our friends at F&M Bank, customer community. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. I'll start. We do have the final of Wimbledon. Sinner versus Alcaraz, 1 versus 2. Alcaraz has opened as a -150 favorite over Sinner for the men's Wimbledon final, according to ESPN Bet. They just had an epic final at the French Open 4 weeks ago. Alcaraz won that match after fending off a trio of match points. Alcaraz is 5-0 so far in Grand Slam title matches. I say he makes it 6-0. Alcaraz over Sinner at Wimbledon this weekend.
First of all, a couple of observations when you watch these guys play. If you don't watch a lot of tennis, Sinner somehow is Italian. That's like the least Italian name that you can have.
Yes.
And he doesn't look Italian. Like I was like, is he from Denmark or Sweden? Like, where's he from? Oh, he's from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He's tall. He just disposed in straight sets of Djokovic, which that's not easy to do. So he is on a roll. I'm going to take Sinner in this game. And if you go back a ways on the station, Carlos Alcaraz is like the Spanish version of Ryan Porth, like a distant cousin. Our former program director. He's got he looks like he could be a Porth cousin. And I don't think there's any Spanish roots in the Porth family.
No, it's not, at least that we know of.
He's a heck of a player, though.
Yeah, so
this will be a really good match, I think.
I'm taking Sinner. Good. I'm taking Sinner to win.
Okay. David James?
I'll take Alcaraz.
Okay. Any thoughts, Willie, on the home run derby this weekend?
The home run derby is getting a little bit like the slam dunk contest. Mm-hmm. It's past its heyday, and it's harder and harder each year to get the top home run hitters to actually play. Remember, there was a time the greatest slam dunk contests, and it's not even close, were the first few years. Like maybe not the first one, because the first one people really know what was going on. But then after a couple years, and this again, we're harkening back to the mid 80s, when you had in the same dunk contest, Dr. J, the old school, Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, like the best dunkers were in the dunk contest. And then after a while, it's like, who are these guys in the dunk contest?
Well, actually, no, 2016 dunk contest was pretty good with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon going back and forth. That was actually a really good one.
Sure, I'm sure it was good.
For us,
we're talking about the great players and great dunkers.
Yeah,
that's
all
fair.
Doing it like Hall of Fame guys. The home run derby. So this year, like Pete Alonso's not doing it, and that got a lot of talk in New York because he doesn't want to mess up his swing. He's won it before. He got into a big slump after last year. He didn't do as well. Ronald Acuna is in it from the Braves. Cal Raleigh, who is leading the major leagues in homers, is doing. He's a catcher. It's pretty amazing what he's doing right now. He's got 36 home runs already on the season.
Good.
James Wood is a young player who is
with the Nationals.
Who's got a chance to be really good. Byron Buxton, another guy that when you think home run, you really don't think of him. Like, he's a very good player, but not a huge home run hitter. O'Neal Cruz, who's a athletic freak, and he can hit it a mile, but again, not a huge headliner. Junior Caminero, one of 25 players on the Rays that you don't know, but they're a good team. Brent Rooker, who is from Memphis, Tennessee, played at Mississippi State. Yep. He's a good player. Again, playing for the A's. You're kind of in obscurity.
The Sacramento A's.
The Sacramento A's. And then Jazz Chisholm for the Yankees.
Yep.
And only because he's on the Yankees do you really know who he is. So those are the guys. It's not a sexy field at all.
It's a bunch of Mac McClungs is what you're telling me.
Sort of, yeah.
Pretty much so.
So all that being said, I think I'm going to go with I think Acuna. He's fresh, and he's always had that super effortless home run swing. He doesn't have to swing that hard to hit it out. I will take Ronald Acuna to win it.
SEC Media Days coming up again on Monday. Chase and Big Joe will be there live throughout the week in Atlanta. Looking forward to that coverage. What are we expecting? I'm sure there's going to be a ton of conversation about the college football playoff format.
Oh.
Outside of that, what do you think the biggest storylines of SEC Media Days are going to be?
I think it still has to be NIL.
The evolution.
And the evolution of it and roster sizes. But here's maybe, here's something that the show can do, because obviously I will be on vacation for a few days here.
Yes. It'll be me and Willie with you
yes.
from 9 to noon next week.
But here's some who will take up the most air in the room during their press conference before questions are able to be asked of them. Because you remember Nick Saban, he would take up so much time, just giving his spiel, and then you get your questions after that. But who's going to go the most?
I've offended Jacob.
The longest.
I've offended Jacob from Murfreesboro. He says, "Did you just compare Ronald Acuna to Matt McClung? What an insult!" Not a direct comparison. I'm just saying that the people you want to see in the dunk contest aren't in the dunk contest
Acuna
anymore.
might be the biggest name that's in that.
Certainly. Who's going to take up the most oxygen?
Yes.
I don't know. Does Lane Kiffin like to riff?
Yeah,
Lane Riffin.
Talk. He likes
Riffin
talk.
Kiffin.
I think it's going to be Kirby. I think Kirby's going to take up the most oxygen.
I do wonder about Kiffin will he piggyback, or any of the coaches try to get momentum going? Because Lane Kiffin, a couple years ago, after the first year of NIL, he brought up the term salary cap.
Yeah.
He brought up salary cap because he knew at Ole Miss, as it was unfolding in real time, he was like, well, we have a certain amount of money, but we don't have what other schools in our league have. We need a salary cap. That's what Deion Sanders was saying. And we're a long way from a real salary cap, but I wonder if they'll be able to define better what this new revenue sharing thing does. That will be Greg Sankey's opening thing that I'm sure he'll try to spell out. I don't know how well he'll do it. He seems to talk for a long time. He brings out quotes and sayings from books and movies and things as he's talking about it. So it's always top of mind. What's the system? How is it evolving? What do we want? Like, do we want a hard salary cap in college football, or do we kind of like that there's the Davids and Goliaths in there somewhere?
It is the unofficial start of college football season. I remember when it was here a few years ago, I pitched in on coverage with Teresa Walker of the Associated Press. It was an interesting experience. The one time I've covered SEC Media Days. It is talking season after all. And Chase and Big Joe will be there live all week. Chase will be back from vacation. Again, Chase and Big Joe live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta all next week from 12 to 3. Willie and I will be on with you from 9 to noon next week. So an earlier start for DVD, which will still be DVD without Derek because we have David. So it'll be Donick, Fingit, and David. That's the beauty of our program.
All the letters represented.
All the letters will be represented. Yes, represented. Yes, whatever. I'm going to stop talking. It's the weekend. I don't know why I added an extra syllable in there. But we hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Catch me Friday Night SmackDown tonight, Bridgestone Arena. Connor Newt, he's my date. Say hello. Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman, back from vacation for one day for some reason. We love you, Jared. Coming up next.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. See you next week. Peace.